Shields up, Ironbreakers. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody is doing good. Welcome to another episode of Con's Anvil. I actually wanted to do this episode yesterday, but it's a good thing I didn't because my kids arrived like in the middle of the afternoon. And, you know, obviously I wanted to spend some time with my kids. They've been on vacation with my parents. And so, you know, when they come back to office, hey, Daddy, let's go play, let's do things. So, yeah, of course. Of course, I'm going to hang out with my kids. It's just that simple. But there's a lot of stuff we got to talk about today. There is a lot of stuff, and I hope that you guys are excited. We've had a bunch of news in regards to Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm probably going to be rewatching every single Monster Hunter Wilds weapon thing on this live stream because we just got it. The ones that we've gotten so far. It has been absolutely phenomenal. Like, does anybody have any major complaints about the stuff that we've gotten? I know that your dwarven name would be in a fantasy world. Rurikhan the Late. Yes. Rurikhan the Late. That is I. Because, like, I'm super pumped. I think, like, most weapons have gotten something really cool. Yeah, of course, we still haven't gotten, like, all of the weapons, and everybody wants their weapon to show up. I mean, that's natural. I'm actually surprised the Gunlance showed up as early as it did. That was pretty fun. Game isn't playable yet. Major complaint. Oh, you want to do, like, that investor that went up to Capcom? It's like, let's just do it holiday 2024 instead. Let's just release it early. Just release it early. It's just that simple, right? That's how you do it. Even with the longsword, Ruri? Yeah, I mean, longsword looks like it's getting some cool stuff. Rurikhan the Gun main. That's me. Hey, Dark Hero, what's up? Love the sound on Charge Blade. Surprised I didn't like it. It didn't sound as meaty. Like, maybe I missed something, but it didn't sound as meaty. It sounded more like just slashy. And I want more to, like, you know, like actually visceral carving into flesh. And I feel like I didn't get as many of that. I just got, like, metallic slashy. Work on your bet on the next weapons showcase for tomorrow. It's interesting because I actually predicted the longsword was going to be Sunday, and I missed it by 1 day. Longsword was Saturday. I thought it was going to be the other way around. We would have gotten Charge Blade first and longsword second. And the reasoning is because usually Sundays is, you know, at least for me, historically, from my YouTube experience, Sundays is usually where you have the potential to get the most viewership on YouTube because people are off work, people are chilling, people are checking out YouTube videos, doing their thing. So I would have expected Capcom to promote their darling on Sunday, you know? But turns out it didn't happen. Can you compare it to World Charge Blade trailer sounds? It's gonna take too long for me to find, like, Charge Blade footage right now. But it just sounds heavier, so to speak, I feel like. Dual Blade's next for sure. I don't know. I think that the next weapon, if I had to guess, I would say bow or light bowgun. Because we're probably due for another ranged weapon soon. So I'd say either bow or light bowgun are going to be next. Capcom caught up that everyone now hates longsword. No, they don't. No, they don't. Funny how I avoid the actual question. I didn't. I said bow or lightning or light bowgun. I didn't avoid anything. Bow or light bowgun, dude. 100%. I think that tomorrow we're getting a ranged weapon. So we'll see. It's worth noting Rurikhan, the overall design of the Charge Blade more likely has to do with the audio design. We'll see. We'll see. I'd love it if that was the case. So, like, that one sounds more slashy, then you'd get other ones that would sound more heavy. I think that'd be cool. But anyway, as per usual, shout out to our Thanes. Katsuki TG, Colin, LaSure, and JV Doc, thank you very much for being grossly incandescent. As Thanes, you Giga Chads, tip of the hat. Really appreciate the outstanding support. Thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, it has been a lot of news. Tons and tons and tons of news. Hey, Sir Patty. Antonio Cunningham had said how many people hate the longsword and its users. Listen, I don't hate longsword. I've said it multiple times. I don't hate it. Usually what ends up happening is a lot of people with longsword come at me, and then when I reply they don't like it, it's like, look, I talk back to people. That's the way that I do, okay? People come at me, I come at them. It is what it is. I don't hate any weapon, all right? I don't hate any weapon. I'm a bit worried about hunting horn bubble move being too mandatory and wonder how long they stay active. I mean, there's always going to be certain things that are going to be mandatory, and I think it'll be fine. Okay, but sword and shield, though. It's probably going to be like 2 or 3 weapons before sword and shield. I suspect sword and shield might even be one of the last ones. Maybe. We don't know. Because, like, here's how you figure this out, right? Usually you save the best for last. Jono's a sword and shield main. You guys do the math. You know? Jono's a sword and shield main. Sword and shield's his favorite weapon. He's going to save his favorite weapon for last so that he can say that it's the best one. Yeah, buddy. I personally like they're including more Monster Hunter Frontier mechanics. I'm not even familiar with the Monster Hunter Frontier stuff, but I've seen a lot of people talk about that. So, yeah. Like, the other thing about the longsword, right? I made the joke yesterday on Twitter when they released longsword, because I've been making jokes about all the weapons, right? I take a picture of the weapon, and then I come up with something that I think funny, like the greatsword was God's given girth, which was that, that thing that happened organically in the podcast by me fumbling it up, but it was just a funny thing to say, right? So I was like, okay, greatsword, God's given girth, right? And then, what did I call the bow gun? The heavy bow gun. I just called it big gun. So like whenever light bow gun comes out, I'm probably just going to call it small gun, right? But it's like all stuff like that. And then for longsword, I just put, just use flinch free. There were a lot of people that were upset about that. There were a lot of people that were mad about that. Ark, thank you very much for making 5 people grossly incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support, brother. Thank you. Tip of the hat. Appreciate it. Ark, another Gunlance user who's super happy about Gunlance. Ark trying to lower your guard before he strikes. Yeah, dude. Was Charge Blade Thud on the table? No. That Charge Blade was like some new spider monster. LGB Baby Pew Pew. That's also a good one. But yeah, when I put just use flinch free, a lot of people got mad. Just like triggered people. It was funny to me. And I'm gonna be real. About the whole flinch free thing, I want people to understand something. I don't like the idea of flinch free. I don't. I really don't. This is not a joke. This is not a meme. I don't like flinch free. Shockproof, I like it even less. I don't like those skills. The reason I don't like those skills is the same reason why, for instance, Remnant 2, I like the fact that there's friendly fire. It makes it more strategic when you have to position yourself accordingly and you have to think about where the other users are positioned. This is a strategic element of hunting and Monster Hunter. At least that's my view on it. You guys have different views. That's all good. I'm still going to express my position. I don't like flinch free. I don't like shockproof. I don't like the idea that like everybody else that's on a hunt is just another number of damage that you're inflicting on the monster. I like the idea that different weapons have different strengths and you have to plan around the people that are with you on a hunt in a way that makes sense. I like that. I understand that if you're playing with randoms that things can get hectic. It's like, look, I still like it. I think it is way cooler. I think it's a strategic element. And I know that a lot of people are like, it's inconvenient, fuck it, get it out of my way. And it's like, look, I get it. I get that a lot of people think like that. I don't. I look at it completely differently. I look at things very differently. So, it is what it is. Someone said to me when I suggested flinch free to counter being trip, not just longsword. Someone said defending longsword. Guess your profile picture says a lot about you. Jesus Christ. You can't like the weapon. Are insect glaive mains now canonically pole dancers? Yes, exotic dancers. Insect glaive mains are now exotic dancers. It's just that simple. Rurikhan, you were begging for flinch free when I was playing Elemental Hammer. What do you mean? Why was I begging for... Oh, because you were like spinning? That's fantastic, dude. That's fine. It is what freaky glaive. Yeah, it's not insect glaive anymore. It's freaky glaive. We're gonna get freaky with it. Gonna get freaky with it. Okay, so a little bit of an update after this live stream at around 6 p.m. I think. So this live stream should be done by 6 p.m. That's the plan anyway. I have a special podcast going up. If you guys remember a while ago, it was like a week and change ago, I did a video on this game called Fellowship. This is a game that's basically World of Warcraft Mythic Plus dungeons without any of the other grinds. It's just jump in, do Mythic Plus, which is something that I really, really like. I know that this is not going to hit a lot of people's inboxes because, you know, that's just the way the algorithm works. But I would recommend, check it out. It was a really good conversation. We don't just talk about Fellowship. We talk also about industry stuff and whatnot. It's a really cool thing. I really appreciate the fact that Hamish Bode took the time to come and chat with me about their upcoming game. It was cool. It was really cool. So I hope you guys check this out. After the live stream, you will be automatically redirected, and that's going to be fun times. Now, I got something else that I got to talk to you guys about, and this is very important for me. This is very important that you guys understand what we're about to talk about here. Cold Brick, thank you very much for being with us for 9 months as a Longbeard. You Giga Chad, tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Best 9 months of content regarding my beloved Charge Blade. Do you prefer Super Amped Elemental Discharge or Savage Axe, and which one do you get rid of? Change if you could. I would not get rid of either of them, and I like Super Amped Elemental Discharge more. That's more my style. I like Super Amped Elemental Discharge. It's more fun to me. I just like, you know, building up to a big burst and then boom, big explosion. But I also like Savage Axe. I like them both, so I wouldn't delete either of them, you know? He's going to announce Bugsnax playthrough? No. So, I'm finally allowed to talk to you guys about some of the stuff that is going to happen at Gamescom. I've been working with Capcom behind the scenes, and there's two things we're going to be able to do at Gamescom that I haven't been able to tell you guys up until now. Number one, I am going to be able to live stream. I'm going to be able to do one live stream while I'm out there. One live stream of Monster Hunter Wilds. I am. Yes. So we're going to do one live stream. It's going to be 1 hour. 1 hour, but only like 30 minutes is going to be gameplay. The live stream is going to be on the 21st. I don't know exactly when I'm going to be able to post it up on the channel. I probably can post it up right now since I'm allowed to talk about it. But on the 21st, I think it's going to be around 30 minutes from now. I think that will be the time. It's going to be around that time, like 30 minutes from now on the 21st. I will be live streaming Monster Hunter Wilds in this channel. Now, there's going to be two components. The live stream is going to be on my channel. There's going to be two components to that live stream. The first 30 minutes, it's going to be me and Jono shooting the shit and talking about the game, because by then I probably will have already played a little bit of it, so I'll be able to talk a little bit about it, right? Sierra51, thank you very much for becoming Ghostly Incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. So, again, 21st, around 30 minutes from now, give or take, there'll be an event and all of that stuff. I'll let you guys know well in advance. I will be live streaming. The first 30 minutes is me talking with Jono about the game. The second 30 minutes, the second half of the stream, is going to be straight gameplay, me playing one of the quests that is going to be available in the build. The build that is present at Gamescom is a local build. It is built specifically to be played at Gamescom. It is not a demo. I still don't know if there's going to be a demo after Gamescom. I don't think there is going to. I haven't received any word from Capcom in regards to that, so I don't know, but I highly doubt it. I've been telling guys since the beginning, I don't think there's a demo after Gamescom, but I don't know. But anyway, so 30 minutes of me talking with Jono and 30 minutes of me playing the game. That's like the live stream that we're going to be able to have here. I don't know which weapons I'm going to be using. Naturally, we get to use two weapons. But that build at Gamescom is going to have 2 quests. I'm not allowed to show you one of those quests. One of the quests is kind of like story and whatnot, and we can't show that one. The other quest is just a hunt, and we can show that one. That one's going to be the quest that I will show you guys. But yeah, likely the 2 weapons that I want to use is Gunlance and Charge Blade. I think that's what would make the most sense. Those are the 2 weapons that I pretty much like the most. But it might end up being a different weapon. If I feel like, oh man, I really want to showcase the Sword and Shield or the Insect Glaive or something like that. So we'll see. But yeah. So that's just to let you guys know. So that was one of the things. The other thing is I will also be able to record footage separately. And that is going to be like a different thing. There's going to be a capture session. And I'm going to be able to go and take part in that. Fulminous, thank you very much. Being Roscanes for 7 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. I'm going to be taking part in like a capture session. I think that's going to be with potentially like a pre-made team or something, so it's not going to be solo. Again, I don't know all of the details yet. I just know that there is a capture session. I'm going to be a part of it, and I was allowed to tell you guys this. Capture section, I think, is going to be for me on the next day or something along those lines. But I probably won't be showcasing footage of the capture section until I'm back, because I'm not going to be scrambling while I'm in Germany to edit shit on my crummy laptop just to upload things last second. It's like, no, listen, when we're back, we'll sort it out and I'll do my commentary and I'll give you guys my thoughts on how I feel about the game and everything that I've played and everything that I've seen while I was there. So, capture session as well as live stream. These are 2 things that I'm doing with Capcom. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, there's one more thing that I got to tell you guys. This one's very important for me. Capcom has actually volunteered to pay for my trip and stay while I'm at Germany. And I accepted. Now look, you guys know, if you look through my channel, I do almost no sponsorships. Probably you can count all the sponsorships I've ever done in the channel like in one hand, because we don't do sponsorships. So I'm hoping that you guys are okay, that like, look, there's a chance here that I get to, you know, save some money. I'm hoping you guys are cool with that, because I don't chill shit for you. I don't come in here like, guys, it's Raid Shadow Legends time, let's go. We don't do that. So, you know, but again, full transparency, the second I was allowed to tell you guys, I was like, yep, I'm telling them instantly. Next Con's Anvil, instantly happening. I want you all to know that is happening. I will repeat it whenever I put out those videos, because transparency, it's important. But just letting you guys know what is the deal with that. This is, however, not a sponsorship, because I was offered a sponsorship if I wanted to, which would mean that I would be able to, like, dictate my price, and I'd be like, okay, I want you guys to pay me this much, and then they would say, okay, then you have to make these types of videos. I was like, no. They gave me the choice. It's like, we can do an official sponsorship, or we can just pay for your travel, and then you can do whatever you want. Because Capcom knows that I'm going to be making a ton of content for the game anyway. That's going to happen. That's our bread and butter. Monster Hunter is our bread and butter. Guess what? We're going to make a lot of content for it. So it's not like they have to force a sponsorship on me and then ask me specifically for this type of videos. The fact that they're just paying for the trip, they said, look, and you can say whatever you want. That doesn't matter to us. It's whatever, basically. So I've got no strings attached in terms of what I can say about the game. Do I like this thing? Do I not like this thing? Which is the way that I want it. So it is what it is. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. And by the way, in case you guys want to know how much that whole thing is, it's about 1,500 euros and change, give or take, because I always said from the beginning, I'm going to Gamescom. As a matter of fact, I booked everything before I was even, like, paid anything. So I know that what they're going to be paying me is about 1,500 euros, which is the cost of lodging and the cost of my plane tickets. And I don't know how much the Gamescom ticket would cost, but they're covering that too. The Gamescom. So it's probably more. I think Gamescom tickets are probably like 200 bones. So it's probably like 1,700 or something along those lines. But yeah, they're covering all of that. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of that from the beginning. From the get-go, it is what it is. Is the Gamescom demo private? It is not a demo. It is a special build for Gamescom. It's not a demo. So are we going to see gameplay today? No. That's gonna... I mean, you're gonna see gameplay because I'm gonna be showing the videos again. Rathalos Watch, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. If you say something negative, we make Wyvern Steak Blast mandatory in Wilds. Exactly. You're not in attendance anymore, you're a guest. Are you based in NA? No, I'm based in Europe. I'm in Portugal. Why is it so expensive? What do you mean so expensive? It's because the hotels around the Gamescom time are giga expensive. And here's the thing. What I booked isn't even a hotel. It's like a pension type thing, which is a little bit lower than a hotel. So I didn't even book like a big hotel. I'm like, no, listen, this thing, it was like one of the cheapest things that I could find that is 30 minutes away from Gamescom, which is good because then I get to do like a morning walk up to Gamescom. It's fantastic. Love it. Youth hostel. No, it's not a hostel. It's not a hostel. I get my own bathroom, so... Do you speak Portuguese? Well, yes, I am Portuguese. Por isso sim, eu falo português, claro. Lodging is ridiculous. I spent $2,000 on a cardboard box close to the event. You are insane! You spent $2,000? You're crazy, dude. The hotel that I usually stay at was actually not available, which was really frustrating. You got a little hunter tent rented out, yeah. On the whole trip, yes. I'm still... Oh, yeah, but you're coming in from the UK, right? No, wait. Is it the UK? I forget if you're working on UK or not. I thought you were working in UK. Should have slept in the car at 30... What car? I'm not going to drive to Germany. That's insane. Yeah, so listen, if you're in the UK, okay, you're getting paid loads, so you can afford it. Get the hell out of here, bro. People in the UK make loads of money. I'm joking, actually. I don't know. But I imagine they do because they pay taxes out the ass, so, you know. Portuguese like you living in the UK, yeah. UA, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Okay, but now that we've got all that out of the way, we've gotten a lot of videos for Monster Hunter. Let's rewatch some of them. Has Gaijin talked with you about the weapon trailers? No. I haven't spoken to Gaijin in ages because Gaijin's too busy grinding Savage on his free time. So whenever he has free time, he just grinds Savage. That's what he does. He grinds Savage all day, every day. So it looks like focus mode is going to be pretty much what I predicted. You guys remember what I said about focus mode? Allows you to carefully aim your attacks or guards. This is a good thing. I've seen an attack of Greatsword where they're actually doing that sliding thing, but at a much higher point. I think it was in this video. We also see the sliding slash here for Sword and Shield, as well as a little strafing move, which is really cool. And as you can see, very much like I said, you can form wounds without focus mode. You don't need focus mode to create wounds. You just got to hit the same spot. Splat. Creates a wound right there. Organic. It is what it is. Gaijin's playing 14 since when? Are you kidding? You gotta be kidding, right? And then you can highlight the wounds. Attacking wounded spots deals more damage. It makes me wonder if the idea is, you create a wound, you know that there's a certain amount of time before before that wound disappears. So the idea would be deal as much damage as possible on the wounded spot before triggering the focus strike. I wonder if that's going to be the objective. I'm hoping, if I had to pick, I would actually prefer if weakness exploit would not interact with wounded spots. I prefer when weakness exploit just deals damage to weak spots as opposed to wounds. Very much like, as opposed to like the tenderizing thing and all that stuff. So yeah. You have to predict what weapon showcase do you think is next? I already said bow or light bowgun. I think it's going to be one of those two next. What if no Wex, just wounds? I would actually, like, here's another thing that I would like to see for Months Hunter Wilds. Like, you know how in Rise Sunbreak you get to have like 5 pages of skills? I would love it if at end game, you're able to max, on average, 5 skills. No more. I would love it if that was the case for Wilds. You get to max 5 skills. And then on the ultimate version, you get to max 2 more. So on average, you'd be able to max out 5 skills on Wilds, and then Wilds Ultimate, you'd get to max out 7 skills. I would prefer it that way. I feel like on World Iceborne, we had too many skills that were able to max. It was because you get to a point where literally everybody has access to Critical Eye plus 7, Attack plus 7, Wex 3, Critical Boost 3, and it just like these 3 skills, and let's put Agitator 5 in there as well. And these 5 skills become meaningless. They might as well be baseline because literally everybody has them. Which pretty much means, when it comes to builds, you get these 5 skills, and then you get a couple of more skills that you might think are useful. I don't like that at all. I want less skills so that you're actually forced to pick and choose the skills that you're using. A lot of people are just like, no, I want big number. Big number is meaningless. Your big number is meaningless. Less skills is better. Less is more when it comes to that. We had to grind to get them. It wasn't handed out. Don't care. Don't care. I don't care. I don't care. It's like, means nothing to me. But yeah, that's where I stand with that. Tax wounds will do more damage than normal. So I think that the idea is going to be you wound. After you wound, you deal as much damage as possible. And then right before the wound closes, focus strike for maximum damage. I think that's going to be the strategy we're going to have to go for. We shall see if that's the case or not. Like, you see how in here the sword went further up than it did in the first trailer? Because you're aiming where you want to hit the focus strike. And because he's like hitting the head here, the head moves up and is like, okay, then I'm going to drag it through the head. I think that is pretty cool. Major damage. But yeah, that's focus mode. So you wound the thing, and after you wound the thing, eventually you get to do a focus strike, which breaks the wound and deals loads and loads of damage. That is the point. My only issue with little skills is that it limits which weapon combos you can bring. That's the thing, Xtitty. They already said they're working on a system that's going to make that work. They've stated that they're working on a system that's going to make that work, so I'm just going to let them cook. I'm assuming that they have something in there where you'll be able to like bring maybe some skills on the weapon or something along those lines, and then you just get like some generic skills on your armor. You get maybe some other skills on your weapon. Then when you swap weapon, it works all around. But they said they have some kind of a system they're working on that's going to let them, that's going to make that system make sense. Yeah, although we don't know how it's going to work. In my opinion, like, I'm actually of a completely different mind. To me, I think what you should do is like, oh, you want to bring 2 weapons? Your mixed set better work for both. Your mixed set better work for both. Because if it doesn't, you're going to have a hard time. Although that would limit the combination. Because, like, it works for me, right? Because I'm Gunlance Chargeblade, and they share a lot of skills. That's fine. But, like, if you're doing something like maybe, I don't know, Hunting Horn and Heavy Bowgun, that's not going to work. That's going to be rough. It's like, oh, yeah, my Hunting Horn loves the fact that I have, I don't know, normal shots up or something like that. Or capacity boost for my Hunting Horn. It's going to be so good. Orange Mushroom, I feel Monster Hunter World looks better than this game. You should go see an eye doctor. It absolutely does not. I mean, maybe you like the art style, but like from a visual fidelity standpoint, completely disagree. Completely disagree. We have some basic mechanics here, even though they don't tell us a whole lot. They do show us some stuff. And the cool thing about this one is we have this background music. Straight up takes me back to like Terran tunes and StarCraft, and I love it. Like, listen to this music. So chill. Switch Axe and Charge Blade are interchangeable? No, Switch Axe doesn't take advantage of artillery. Unless they changed it. The Sacred! The Mount. Creature can be mounted, providing you with a means of travel. How's modding going to work with crossplay stuff? I mean, it's going to crash. If you mod your game and then you go into crossplay, it's going to crash. So you probably want to turn off as a matter of fact, if you mod your game, you just shouldn't play multiplayer unless you're playing with friends who are also modding or are okay with you modding. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend modding and cross-playing. That's going to be, you know, it's not going to work. I'm pretty sure that Capcom is not a big fan of people modding the game to begin with. So, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I think they're going to have some form of anti-cheat. They'll probably have to because of crossplay. Just waiting for Rurikhan's word about Gunlance's new mechanic. G Slinger, I've made a video on it. One of my most viewed videos. Charge Blade doesn't use artillery if you're playing Savage Axe. Oh, really? It doesn't. You do know artillery affects the damage of files. Savage Axe also makes file explosions. Therefore, if you're using power file and you're using Savage, not power, impact file, and you're using Savage Axe, artillery most definitely affects that. So yeah. Now, if what you might be saying is elemental files don't benefit from artillery. Correct. Correct. But other than that, yeah, if you're using elemental files, that's fine. I mean, Antonio, I'm pretty sure that most games that I've seen so far that have crossplay, you can just turn it off. You can just turn it off. But be aware. Like, even before the game came to PC, I saw modded save files on PlayStation as well. So, I'm talking about Monster Hunter World. I saw modded save files on PlayStation. Hell, I saw videos of people that had modded save files. Content creators. Like, I remember there was this video that I was watching from this guy because I was curious. He was talking about something that I was interested in. And he was going through and showcasing like the Steamworks or something. And he was just like, oh yeah, and then you could just put this material on there. And he had like 500. And I was like, wait a minute. I got like 50 hours in this game. I have like 10 of those materials. How the fuck do you have 500? Where'd you dig up those 500 things you're feeding into this? Excuse me. Where'd that shit come from? You pull that out of your ass? I'm sorry. No. So it's like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. But if you're an iron breaker, okay, if you're one of mine, if you want to mod in your single player save file, do whatever you want. I personally don't care. But if you're coming online, turn it off. Just turn it off. Okay? No cheating online. Let's just let everybody have their experience. That's my message. if I can influence any of you. Turning off crossplay doesn't help because it also keeps from playing people on the same platform. Does it? People that say PC players shouldn't have crossplay are just selfish. It's like, look, I think that there's something fundamentally wrong about just associating PC players with cheaters. The cheater is not cheating because they're a PC player. They're cheating because they're a cheater. So let's not lump the entirety of the PC community as cheaters, because not all of them are. It's just because it's easier to cheat on PC doesn't mean that everybody that's playing Monster Hunter on PC is a cheater. Let's just establish that. So, you know. Modding doesn't mean cheating. Yeah. What I'm saying is, like, probably turn it off because it might crash somebody else's game. That's all I'm saying. Elemental files don't benefit from artillery? No, they don't. I'm sorry if you weren't aware of that, but they don't. It's like saying PlayStation players some kind of saints. Like I said, I've seen people cheat on PlayStation. It's like, look, it happens on every platform. I'm going to be able to go hands-on with Wild's Yeldir, and I've already confirmed that not only I'm going hands-on with it, I'm going to be able to get a capture session, which means I get to play and record, and I'm also going to be able to live stream it while I'm there. Supposedly, if everything pans out, I've been informed I'll be able to do all those things. Then we also have the map here. Now, one of the things that you will notice is that they start this quest and there's no tracking needed. First of all, let me see where you guys stand on this. I think this is a good thing for us to talk about a little bit before we go any further. How do you guys feel about tracking? Is monster tracking important? Polls going up on chat right now. Take your votes. Let's get a vibe check. Now, my stance on it is I think tracking is important. I think there definitely needs to be a gameplay mechanic around tracking. I don't think they should eliminate tracking outright like they did with Rise and Sunbreak, where you have the Kahoot and you always know where all the monsters are. It's okay on first exploration? No, I think you should always have to do something to track. Like the one on roll, it's a level investigation, can max it out, track automatically. Yeah, I think that might be what we got here. Rise felt terrible without it, even if it was reduced version. Yeah. Tracking in world is fine, paintball sucks. I actually like paintballs. I know that I'm in a minority there. It's like nostalgia, rose-tinted glasses, all that bullshit. But I used to think that it was funny. It's like, oh, fuck. I forgot to paintball the monster. RIP! But it was cool because there was stuff like, oh, you can signal to the airship, and the airship tells you where the monster is briefly. And there's psycho serums. There's ways to go about it. There's ways to go about it, right? But I actually am not against paintballs. But we're definitely not getting paintballs because we got scout flies. But at least I think we should get something similar to World, and it seems like most people here agree. Most people here agree. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you guys what. We are going to, like this. I am going to send this. Let me just turn this off in case I mess something up. Give me a second here. Okay, actually it would have been fine. But I'm going to shoot this over to Jono. This is community feedback in real time. Community feedback in real time. You talk to me and Capcom gets informed. That's how it works, okay? You guys give me your feedback and I give your feedback back to Capcom. That's pretty much how it works.
If only I
right?
so grossly incandescent.
We don't mess around. Tabino, thank you very much for becoming grossly incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. Thank you very much. The advantages of being a Capcom shill. Hey, I've always said I'm biased towards Monster Hunter just like I'm biased towards Dark Souls. There are certain games to me that are better than others. It's that simple. All right? All right, Ruri, listen to me. Boob sliders. I don't know how Capcom's going to feel about that particular suggestion. Not to mention, I already know we'd get a 100%. We'd get a 100% yes vote on boob sliders. Mr. Tommy Giggles, thank you very much for being with us for 19 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Thank you very much. With a wife who said, tell him about hot cold drinks as well. Oh, I'll bring it up. I mean, I think I've already talked about that, haven't I? I think I've told them about hot and cold drinks, yeah. But world tracking eventually did lead to always, usually you'd still have to pick up one track of monsters. Well, sometimes you just have it like right at the beginning. It does eventually lead to everything, but there's still a hunting element at the beginning. And when there's a new monster, you still have to hunt it a certain amount of times before you do the tracking thing. So, if we're not getting the more traditional paintball, because listen, to me, ideally, we're talking paintballs again. We're talking paintballs. And the way that we would do it is you got paintballs, but the more research you have with the monster, the longer the paintball lasts. To the point where eventually you paintball it once and it lasts 30 minutes, which is half of the hunt. So you'd be good. That's what I would do. Yeah, paintball and balloons. That's what I would do. If it was up to me, paintball and balloons. But obviously that's not going to be the case because we have scout flies. So the thing is, maybe this is a monster that they have max research on, so they get in here, the monster's already on the map. Or maybe there's no tracking. There is the potential that there is no monster tracking in Wilds, but clearly you guys have spoken, and I think a majority of the community would prefer to have tracking. Okay? So do hunters even use paintball in real life? No. But hunters in real life is a very different thing. They got shotguns, they shoot the monsters with buckshot, and it's done. I believe it's streamlined world tracking. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be similar to what World did with scout flies. I think that Wilds is kind of going to be a very easy thing to get into if you happen to have played World. I think that that's their design intent. Ms. and Jamal, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Have the tracking be for the first few hunts. Research level for World for later hunts. That would be perfect. And no paintballs, just more maintenance. Those are just my thoughts on the matter. That's fair. That was a research level. It gave a general gist of the area. But when you paintball, you got precise location and Diagra and all that info. Yeah. Senior Bacon, thank you very much for becoming grossly incandescent. As a long beard, you get Chad. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Red Devil, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Ruri, how many people do you think will be in a lobby? 16 or 4? I think it'll be 4. 16. I think it's going to be 16-player lobbies. Sorry. I think it is not going to be 4. I think it'll probably be 16. I think that's what makes the most sense. How do you feel about Rapid Morph? I don't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because even with Max Morph, it still felt significantly slower than World. So it was weird. If with Max Morph you could at least reach the same fluidity of World, I think that would be fine. But even at Max Morph, the transitioning of the Charge Blade felt clunkier than it did in World. That's my opinion. Do you want raid-type hunts to return like Safi? Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love those to return. Dr. Eisenhower, thank you very much for becoming engrossing with us for 4 months. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Thanks for videos of Monster Hunter Wilds. Makes me so excited. Can't even wait. Keep up the good job. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. Wonder how they would do 16-player lobbies with a smooth transition between village, base to maps. Yeah. You could maybe have, say, 4 players out in the world, in the village and all that stuff, and then you can have 16 players if you go into a gathering hub. That could be something that you would do. Do you think we could ever see a return of frontier weapons such as Tonfas and magnetic spike? I think that Tonfas would probably be the first new weapon that they would add into the game. If they were ever to add a new weapon into the mainline series, it'd probably be the Tonfas. That's what I would expect. Jen Moran, I'd love to get Jen Moran. That'd be amazing. Which stance on cold hot drinks? They need to exist. That's my stance. They greatly contribute to immersion. I feel like something is lost without cold and hot drinks. And I know that a lot of people disagree with me on that. That's fine. My opinion is I feel like they contributed greatly to immersion. Another really cool thing about this 3D map, I think 3D map is good. I think this makes it easier to understand verticality. But damn, I love the music on this. Look at this music. Just listen to the music. It's so chill. I love it, dude. This might just be some of my favorite music ever in Monster Hunter. It is that good. Ruri, which question do you have personally for the Gamescom talk? What Gamescom talk? What? Oh, you mean for me and Jono? I don't know. I'm going to play the game between now and then, so... What do you think about cold drink during daytime in the desert and hot drink at night? I think that's fine. But I also think that there needs to be more room in our inventories. Because with cold and hot drinks and everything else we need to have in our inventories, it's getting a little bit tight in there. So I would like to have a little bit more inventory room. And since we have Sacred, maybe we can have some stuff in Sacred's pouches. Like maybe we can, an additional inventory just for Sacred where we can put some of those consumables. I think that'll be fine. Somebody said cold and hot drinks are unengaging busy work. Have us manage heat and actual gameplay like Hot Springs and Iceborne. I don't think it's unengaging maintenance. I think it's immersive. I mean, you're just sitting next to, I don't know. Maybe it's because I played the older games and it makes so much sense to me that it's like when they took it away, I felt like we lost something. That's my opinion on it. Imagine no limited restocking. I feel like we should have no restocking, but obviously because we're going to have more camps and more stuff like that, restocking is just going to be a thing. We're just going to have to accept it. I don't think there's a world where restocking doesn't happen anymore. Have you seen the talk of the white flashes and the Gunlance charge blade videos being perfect guards from Frontier? I don't know. My theory is that whenever they do the thing where the axe is, where the hunter is basically below the axe and the axe in a very defensive position, I think those are axe guard points. Axe guard points. It's immersive, but also unengaging. I think immersion is extremely important. I value immersion much more than a lot of other players, I feel. So, it is what it is. Will you do all weapon guides when Wilds comes out? I probably won't do guides for the bowguns. I might do something for the bow, but I'm definitely not doing bowguns because, look, I am just not... Number one, I'm not interested in the bowguns at all. It's just not my playstyle at all. If I ever use a bowgun, it's because I feel like I'm forced. Like in the case of Cult to Roth, where I used the bowgun, it was because, using a bowgun is just going to make this brain dead farming. And because I had to farm it so hard, I was like, well, I'd rather watch a movie while I have the bowgun. I just go like, pa 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 pa, barely have to engage. That's the only reason why you see me use a bowgun. Mr. Annie, thank you very much for becoming grossly incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Because these are just not interesting weapons to me. Okay? That's just the way that it is. There's too much management of ammunition and all that stuff, and I'm just not into it. And I understand it's a degree of preparation and all that. Yes, I agree. I think they're fine weapons. They're not for me. And I think me making guides for those doesn't make a lot of sense. In regards to bow, sometimes I find bow interesting. So, if I play bow a little bit and I'll be like, oh, it's actually interesting, I might do bow. But I'm probably going to do basics for all the other weapons. Give Gunlance limited ammo. That's the easiest way of getting me not to play Gunlance. I'm not even joking. If I had to craft ammunition for the Gunlance, love you. I'm out. Thoughts about Switch Axe? We haven't seen Switch Axe yet. You consider not doing Builds videos, but rather which skills are important for weapon X and Y as a guideline so people figuring out their own builds that works. No, I'll want to do build videos. I love doing build videos. They're fun for me. So I'll definitely do build videos. Wayfinder, thank you very much for making 5 people grossly incandescent. Tip of the hat. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think I did 5 tips of the hat for Ark earlier, did I? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to you as well, Ark. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
Wait, that wasn't a sneak attack? It's probably a different button input for sneak attacks then. God, I love this music. This should have been a sneak attack. Surprised he didn't do it. Here's another thing that I'm not a big fan of, sharpening on sacred. I think it's a little bit too powerful. I think that there should be a disadvantage to sharpening on sacred. And this is another thing that a lot of people disagree with me on. That's fair. I think there should be disadvantages for sharpening on sacred. Like, if it's 4 ticks, it should be 2 ticks to sharpen off of sacred. But usually it's 4 ticks, so it should actually be 6 ticks on sacred. That's the way that I would look at it. Where's the idea coming from a sneak attack? Well, it's officially been confirmed. There are sneak attacks. They've confirmed this. So, and I actually talked about this in one of my podcasts. I don't know if it was the one with Joe or the one with Joe and Jono, but we talk about sneak attack in those. Mike Roberts, thank you very much for making Bale grossly incandescent. So tip of the hat, sir. Appreciate the support. Tip of the hat. They should just prevent sharpening during combat. No, you need to be able to sharpen during combat. That needs to be, you need to be able to do that. But I don't think you should be able to just, oh, I'm just going to call in sacred. Monster can catch up to me. I'm super safe now. I'm going to sharpen on top of sacred. I don't think that's fair. But, you know, people disagree with me on that, and I think that's fine. I think that's fine. It's like, look, we're going to disagree. We're going to disagree with a lot of things. It is what it is. I agree with sharpening on sacred, but calling it takes a while, though. Yeah, but you just whistle and then you run around until he arrives. It's not a big deal. You just whistle and then you run around. It's the same thing that you had with Palamutes. Are mantles confirmed? Yes. People have seen them use mantles. I don't know if they use mantles in these videos, but people have seen them use mantles. Switch between a primary and secondary weapon. The Slinger. Do you guys think we're getting Clutch Claw? Or do you think it's just basic Slinger? My theory is just basic Slinger, because if it was Clutch Claw, they would have mentioned it here. So I don't think we're getting Clutch Claw again. Hell no. No, 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 no. Yeah, I think it's basic. Mantle's confirmed. Impact Mantle intensifies. Please no. Praying for no Clutch Claw. Yeah. I mean, this one looks smaller, but there's sets where it's much bigger. Like if we go, which one of these had the heavy set? This one? If we look at this one, it should be pretty friggin' massive. Yeah, look at it there. That right there is the Slinger. It is huge. It is massive. All right? The Slinger on this heavy set is massive. I've never used Clutch Claw, to be honest. Yeah. If we can use Clutch Claw to collect pots from a drawn Gunlance, but we're not gonna have to deal with Wyvern Stake Blast anymore, so we'll be fine. We're gonna load flash pods in there. By the way, this was the light bowgun. Because we've seen what the heavy bowgun looks like. This is really beefy for a light bowgun, I find. More like the not-so-small bowgun. Look at how big that thing is. Medium bowgun. Think there's no Wyvern Stake Blast? You don't know for sure yet? I'm 90% sure that there's not a Wyvern Stake Blast. If there was a Wyvern Stake Blast, they would have shown it. They would have had to shown it. So yeah, I don't think there is one. So next up, we had the Great Sword. Look at the size of that bad boy. Look at it. Tell me that's not God's given girth. Bale, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. New Doshigumo armor, so damn drippy. Looks straight out of Dark Souls 2. Yeah, dude. Atomic Panda Gaming, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. You going to play Wilds on PS5 first? No, I'm only playing on PC. I've been cutting down on a lot of console stuff, mostly because consoles are starting to ignore physical versions of games. And if they're not going to give value to physical versions of games, then it's like, well, if I'm going to be digital, I might as well be digital on PC. It's just the way that I look at it. Camera angles working wonders. Yeah. I wouldn't know about that. TCS looks less impactful than before. No, I don't agree. Look at that bad boy. Bam! Just big, girthy swings. I do find it interesting how they showcase blocking. We all know that nobody's going to block with Greatsword. Do people actually block with Greatsword? I love that counter. And I love the clash animation. And that's the sneak attack. Boom. Beautiful. Nobody blocks with Greatsword. Damn Skippy. You don't block with Greatsword. No. Stop telling me, oh, it's this, that. No, you don't block with Greatsword. You just don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay? Don't block with Greatsword. Big gun! I love the way that Wyvern Heart works. They just put like the cooldown thing on it. What do you think about them removing the blood splatter? I think the blood splatter is removed for trailers. I don't think it'll be removed when you're actually playing the game. Yeah, see, Sir Patty VG has the right idea. Block? Are we talking about shoulder tackle? Block? You mean, surely you mean shoulder tackles, right? Pew, pew, pew. Look at those blocks. Big Wyvern snipe. This is the thing that I like. This is like the new shot. It's the shot that I really like. Look at this thing. What the frack is that? That's like a frag grenade, dude. Look at that. A chunk, 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 boom! See that? This is how you get me to be interested in a weapon right here. If I can make a build around just doing this, that would be it. That'd be the build I do. Just like we played Clutch Cannon back in the day. You guys remember us playing Clutch Cannon, killing Velkhana and Braki? It was really good for killing Velkhana and Braki. This armor makes him look like a fat kid on a school trip. Hey! Don't be talking bad about this set. I like this set. Like, look at this. This is what I'm talking about right here. Red Devil, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate support. Thank you. If there's no Clutch Claw, how will Hunting Horn clutch the monster? Mount. You probably mount. Because we do see the clutch attack from the Hunting Horn, so yeah. Maybe it's a counter, maybe it's something else. Shincry says we'll have perfect block with weapons with shield. Do you have any idea of perfect block in the game? We definitely see perfect block in Gunlance, which I'll show you guys. when we get there. Like, yeah, I like that. And that clash right there, that's pretty cool. Then we have, what came after this? Was it Gunlance? That was Insect Glaive. Insect Glaive looks really cool. Yeah, Fred Berger, the clutch spam. I like the fact that they tell you which thing you get when you are aiming at the monster. That is really cool. I vote Rurikhan to use Insect Glaive. You guys should understand, for Ultimate, the first time I played for Ultimate, Insect Glaive was my main weapon because I was playing with my friend and I would just exploit mounting. It was downright exploit. It's like, yep, I'm mounting now, big opening, mounting again, big opening, mounting again, big... It was just like spam, spam, spam. I was spamming that nonstop. I was disgusting, all right? It was Crackton for you. Yes, it was. Do you think light bowgun's unique identity will now be now that heavy bowgun has rapid shots? I have no idea. Again, this is one of the reasons why I don't really speak much about bowguns. Like, I'll react to the videos and all that to see what they're doing, but bowguns is outside of my scope. I think the light bowgun signature has always been the fact that it moves faster and has got those landmines that it got in World. That would be like what differentiates it from the heavy bowgun. It's not the rapid fire. It's just the mobility that you have while you're playing that weapon. So, you know. Light bowgun full auto? I don't think so. Rurikhan, Insect Glaive, blade moves now while you jump and attack. Like it? Yeah. Whee! The spinning thing is so cool. But another thing that I really like is the fact that you do the focus attacks and your insect follows you. That was my favorite type of Kinsect in Rise and Sunbreak, was the Kinsect that kind of like followed up on your combo finishers and shit. Ms. and Jamal, thank you very much for the soulless tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Supporting the new Insect Glaive profession. Hey, that's a very generous one. It's a $5. Most people would just make it rain with $1 bills. That's what most people do. Man, my nose is so itchy today. Jesus. It must have been all that cocaine I did while I was getting ready to stream. What? I'm lying. It was in Minecraft. Could do without the stripper pole spin? No, it's way cooler like that. What do you mean? Way cooler like that. And then we had the best. Bro, this was the best one. So far, this was the best video in my opinion. Like, you can't beat this. Look at this, dude. Hey, Tulio, what's up? Dude, side shelling is such a massive improvement. The thing is, we're definitely going to need evade extender. Because, like, look, this is probably no evade extender right here. Wait, where's the side shelling? I love the sounds of it, though. It sounds so much meatier. Like, right? Look at that. Those shell dodges. I love that shit. Then the follow-up attack. This feels like a brand new weapon. See, here's the perfect guard. That was a perfect guard right there. It almost looks like an adept guard, but I don't know. I kind of feel like because of all the things that they've shown in the Gunlance showcase makes me believe there's switch skills. Because I think it would be very, very hard to do all of the things that they're showing here in one moveset, unless they brutally simplified the Gunlance moveset to be able to allow you to do all of these things. Yeah, look at this distance, dude. Look at this distance with this back hop. What is that? Look at that, dude. Look at that tiny little hop. It barely moves. This is your back hop. Poof. Make like a Super Mario sound. Boing. That's the tiniest back hop I've ever seen in my life. This is shorter than Monster Hunter World without evade extender. Like, look at that. You definitely... I think evade extender might be more important than artillery. Yeah, I think there are switch kills because on the longsword showcase, there's a 2-3 spirit combo 1. Yeah. What if it has more iframes? I doubt it. That little tiny hop. I love how meaty everything feels. Look at this. Beautiful, dude. That is beautiful. That's one of the most beautiful attacks I've ever seen. That quick reload with a guard point. Come on, baby. And that clash. Bro. Perfection. Perfection. All right? The hunting horn also looks legit. I love the little bubble things that they put in the ground. I've always enjoyed shockwaves. It's one of my favorite things about the hunting horn. The one thing that I'm concerned, right, is that the whole thing is hammer. Okay? When it comes to balancing between the hunting horn and the hammer. And by the way, they better... and I'm not even joking. Also, guys, there's 1,000 of you here right now. I don't know why. I love you. Thank you very much. But if you guys are enjoying the stream, hitting the like button really helps me out. And you can also subscribe because I'm going to be putting out a bunch of Monster Hunter Wild stuff. So keep that in mind. But thank you. Thank you very much for showing up today. But as I was saying, one of my concerns in regards to, let's say, hunting horn, hammer, and heavy bowgun. I am very concerned about this because, let's face it, let's just be completely, brutally honest. World, Iceborne, Rise, and Sunbreak, what weapon was the KO King? Because I can guarantee you it wasn't the fucking hammer. Let's just be real. Okay? Let's just be completely real. The KO King was not the hammer. It was either the light bowgun or the heavy bowgun. It was one of the two bowguns. It was in no way, shape, or form the hammer. Never. Not in your wildest dreams. I don't care who you think you are. If you're the best hammer player in the world, rocking KO3, it doesn't matter. Sticky spam always wins. Always. 100% always wins. And these 4 games, stickies always win. It's just that simple. Okay? Now, in my opinion, in no world should there ever be a weapon that is better at KOing monsters than the hammer. Also, in no world there should ever be a weapon that is better at mounting monsters than the insect glaive. Okay? So let's just be... even with the nerf Kareel, it was still the best at knocking monsters down. Okay? So, in my opinion, hammer needs to be the KO King. Now, that then asks the question, okay, well, what is the hunting horn good at? Hunting horn should be the best one at exhausting monsters. The problem is, elder dragons don't get exhausted. But they should, with the hunting horn. See, that would be a unique mechanic they could put on the hunting horn, which would be, it is the only weapon that can exhaust elder dragons, the hunting horn. And I think they should do it. I think they should do it. I think that the hunting horn should be the best exhaust weapon, and it should be the only weapon that would be able to exhaust elder dragons. That's what I think about it. I think hammer needs to be KO King, better at KOing monsters than any other weapon, and the hunting horn should be the exhaust king. That's the way that I would look at it. Hunting horn user to Fatalis. Want to listen to my mixtape? Yeah, I think it should definitely do it. I think it should definitely do it. You can't take exhaust away from Switch Axe. Switch Axe is amazing at dealing damage, okay? Switch Axe is really good at dealing damage. The hunter shall do't as we please. Yes. Yeah. What about Switch X exhaust file? No. No. Switch X should get a sleep file instead. There you go. You get a sleep file. Man, I love this. And I love the animations they put on it. Like, performance seems fast. Look at that. Little performance dance. Really cool. Bong, 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 bong. It's like bongos. Like, these things are like bongos. Boom, 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 boom. It's like the bongos of Doom. Boom, 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 boom. Melody effects also affect your allies. Boom! I love this one. The guitar solo. Bam, 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 bam. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Love it. Oh yeah, they did use a different hunting horn. I didn't notice when I first... It's only for like a short clip. They used like a bone hunting... Or almost looks like Dorogama's. No, it's just a bone one. We need guitars, man. We need a Zenogre guitar up in here. Blang! It's so brutal. Love it. I think Hunting Horn also looks amazing. Now I can disrespect the monster while it kills me. Beautiful. Yes. That's the way to do it. You disrespect the monster. That's how you get it done right there. Then we have the Longsword, which has what appears to be Doshiguma armor. The biggest thing that I've noticed about Longsword is two things. The follow-up to, what's it called? The follow-up to the Spirit Helmbreaker. And that it appears to have a new combo when you get to Red Gauge. Foresight Slash. Yai Spirit Slash is still in there too. You still have whatever the Slash's name is that does that little regen. Like, see, when it goes into red, the combo completely changes. It's like Insect Glaive with red buff. Hyper armor on Spirit Slashes? No, I don't think that's a thing. It does feel like they're using way more Fate Slashes. And it seems like Fate Slash might have a combo of some kind. Which is also really cool. Yeah. Do you think there are other areas in the game similar to the Ancient Forest, like an ice area? 100%. As a matter of fact, if I was a betting man, because this is what they did for World. They showed World, and I think most of the stuff that they were showing was in the Ancient Forest. And then at the Gamescom stage, they revealed a brand new zone. I would imagine that's what they'll do here. They'll likely reveal a new zone, whether that'll be an ice zone or a more foresty type zone. I don't know what it'll be. But I would imagine they reveal a new zone at the stage in Gamescom. Can we check the Charge Blade library? I mean, I've already done the Charge Blade, but yeah, we're gonna do all of them. So the next one is Charge Blade, which is the last one, which is my baby, one of my baby girls. Look at it. For starters, bro. So a lot of people are saying it's not Rachna. I'm thinking it might be a Rachna that we haven't seen yet. I don't think it's the Rachna Kadaki, the original one. I also don't think it's Pyre Rachna Kadaki. I think it might be a Rachna Kadaki that we haven't seen yet. It's either that or a brand new spider monster. I don't know. A lot of people are saying a lot of things. This looks way different. I don't know if it does. I don't know if it looks that different from like Rachna. I think it could very well be just a brand new Rachna that we haven't seen. But I would even prefer it if it was a new monster. Now, I've also seen some people talking about Nursilla. I don't think it's Nursilla. Nursilla's armor is so different from this style that it wouldn't make any sense. Nersilla's armor is like friggin' Gundam, you know? Yeah, Rachna also had flowers. Clever spider queen. Crab spider, garden spider inspired Timnoceran. I don't know. I like it. I think it looks really good. The one thing that I didn't like as much for Chargeblade was the sound. I feel like the sound is too different than what I would have expected. But the male set has got the Bloodborne hat, and I'm all about that. A moth? I don't think it would make sense to be a moth because there's clearly webs. There's clearly spider webs on the weapon. I don't think it would make sense for it to be a moth. You know? But it's probably some kind of like white furry spider. Because there's a lot of fur on the pommel. I love the sliding slash. Like, look at this. How is this fair? Did you guys see the little side hop we get with the Gunlance, right? You guys saw the little back hop that the Gunlance gets? Look at this. This is 0 evade extender. Look at this. Whee! She's on a different zip code, dude. She's on a different fucking zip code by the end of that sliding slash. How's that fair? I'm betting she doesn't have evade extender, dude, 100%. And she's on a different zip code by the time she finishes the sliding slash, dude. How's that fair? It's not fair. She doesn't have. They never use evade extender in these early videos. They never do. It's dude, no. Get out of here, bro. I want my Gunlance to go that far. You guys remember when I did the test with Dark Hero? It was on a stream, and we did a test where I was telling everybody, and people didn't believe me. I was telling everybody, like, guys, did you know that the longsword actually rolls further away than other weapons? And people were like, crazy. Nah, no way. And then I think I was playing Hammer. I don't know if it was Hammer or Gunlance. And I'm talking about with a weapon sheathed. Was it sheathed or unsheathed? Actually, I don't remember if it was sheathed or unsheathed. But I do remember I had tested it and I was like, oh, damn, longsword does roll further than other weapons. And then I go on the stream and I think I had a hammer equipped and we do the test. And like, Dark Hero ends way further ahead from me. And I'm just like sitting in the back by the time I do my 4th or 5th roll. And people are like, what? That's insane. I was like, yeah, I know. It's so unfair. You have insta-block. You don't need a evade extender. Yeah, sure. Even just having longsword equipped buffs your hunter. Yeah. You're going to take your short hop and you're going to like it. This looks really good. So people were talking about the glowy bit because we have a glowy bit here. No, there was no glow back here. Almost looked like there was a glow, but no. No, there's no glow here. But some people were talking about glowy bits. I think it glows when you're about to unload files. That happens. And by the way, nobody is going to convince me that this right here is not a guard point. Nobody's going to convince me that this stance right here is not a guard point. This is 100% a guard point. Does anybody disagree with that? Look at this stance. It's not a transition. It's an axe guard point. That is an axe guard point. But it doesn't light up. Doesn't have to light up. It's axe shape still, bro. No shot. Wait, there's more. You'll see more of these. Because I know I saw it more than once. I think there's another one after she showcases this one. Like right there. Right here. That's a guard point. You're not going to convince me otherwise. That right there is a guard point. Because, like, you need to understand, if you've played Charge Blade, you can identify where the guard points are based on where how the character finishes the animation. So, like, you do the third hit on your regular combos with sword and shield. So let's say you do a charge hit. Then you press triangle or Y again, and your character does like a spinning slash that ends up with a shield in front of you. That's a guard point. It's super easy to see. You do a sliding slash, your character does the thing, finishes up with a shield in front of you. That's another guard point. You sliding slash back, you do the thing, shield in front of you. That's a guard point. When you see something like this, there's no way this is not a guard point. This is like, bro, I can't say 100%. Obviously I've said 100%, but realistically I can't say 100% because I don't know. They don't show it being a guard point. But like, bro, if that's not a guard point, there's no way. There's just no way. You can't convince me that that is a guard point. It's fine. I think it's a guard point. Shield on top of extended sword, how's that supposed to block? It's a super defensive stance. She's got the full strength of her back to block. That's the full strength of her back to block. Like, this is how you squat with your back so that you gain, strength on your legs and all this stuff. It's like, this is a super defensive position. It is super defensive. Like Marcos Santos is saying, the shield is directly facing the monster and she is behind it. The shield would snap off. Come on now. The axe form doesn't look logical to block something. I think it's 100% a guard point. I think we're divided. We're divided. Okay, it's a good time for a poll. It's a good time for a poll. Is this a guard point? You're not blocking with the handle, you're blocking with the shield. Like, let's look at the position on the other one. You're gonna guard with the shield. Look at where the weapon is. It's a guard point. Ooh, it's so tight. It's so tight. That's what she said. Yeah, 58% in favor of this being a guard point. She's blocking with the handle. Stop it. The handle is here. What do you mean? There's a haft between this little spot here, but the handle is here. She's not blocking with the handle. She's blocking with the axe tip, which also happens to be the shield. Bro, I think it's a guard point. I could be wrong.
If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
I think this is 100% a guard point. The Lumpy 107, thank you very much for becoming gross incandescent. Tip of the hat. Appreciate the support. Thank you. The axe isn't blocking. That's way too far, Rurikhan. We'll see. We'll see. Over 1,000 hours in World Charge Blade. It's a guard point. Yep, I think it is. I think it is. It's interesting to see. In Axe mode, you have no guard point. You have no guard point now. Let's say it does block a hit. How do you expect the transition to guarding animation happens? There is no transition. It blocks the hit like that. You know, you're wielding the weapon and it blocks the hit with the shield portion, and then you smack him on the head. I think it is, and a majority of chat is agreeing with me. We're at 62%. I'm actually going to take a screen grab of this and post this on Twitter. We're going to ask this on Twitter later. Be interesting to see. Lonk, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. When do you think the Lance trailer will drop and what will change? I have no idea what's going to change. I hope there's no charged slaps. I didn't like that. I didn't like charged slaps. I was not a fan of Rise, Sunbreak, Lance at all. Actually, I think I even said I'd rather play Longsword than play Lance and Rise. People would tell me, oh, Rurikhan, I thought you really liked Lance and Iceborne and stuff. Why aren't you playing it now? And I was like, I'd rather play the Longsword. That's how little I liked Lance and Rise. I'd rather play Longsword. Ms. and Jamal, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat. Appreciate support. Thank you. That looked like discharge shot, like the finisher from the uppercut Silkbind. Yep. Maybe. People don't know when changing from axe to blade mode, you get a guard point. So yes, don't have to be... Yeah, 100%. There's a guard point for switching to axe to blade before you finish. So yeah. Seen the part in the wild side with the hunter silhouettes? Yeah. I haven't taken a long hard look at it to try and identify different armor types. I suck at who's that Pokemon type of games. I suck at that stuff, so yeah. But yeah, I don't know when Lance is going to be. Like I said, I think next one's going to be a ranged weapon. And then after the ranged weapon... How many melee weapons we have left? After the ranged weapon, we're probably going to get Hammer. And then after Hammer, we'll probably, considering you got Charge Blade now, after Hammer is probably going to be Lance again. And then Switch Axe or something like that. I think that Sword and Shield's going to be the last. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that type of stuff. We're going to move on to some other topics. I don't know if you guys have any other questions you want to ask me about Monster Hunter. You know, my plan for next week, by the way, because I need to get some rest ahead of Gamescom because it's just been insane. All the stuff that I've been doing, I haven't even properly prepared for Gamescom. I need to like set up my laptop. Need to set up a capture thing. I need to set up a bunch of stuff for Gamescom that I still haven't had time. So next week, likely, I'm going to be sticking to doing the reactions and breakdowns of weapon overviews. I don't know what else I'll be able to do. We finished Monster Hunter World Iceborne, Shari Shvalda. I do want to go back to it and do the endgame grind and go all the way up to Fatalis, but that will probably be after Gamescom. That is the plan. Rurikhan, did you see the Charge Blade Perfect Guard? No. I didn't see a Perfect Guard in there. Imagine a world where it isn't a guard point. You would even be able to handle a world that cruel and unfair. I don't care. I don't care if it's not a guard point. It's not going to make or break the weapon for me. I think it looks like a guard point. Mainly only use longsword and insect layer. Blah, blah, blah. How many biomes will be in wilds? If I had to guess, 4 or 5. Switch skills, Ruri, is it confirmed? Based on the Gunlance video, I'm like 90% sure there's switch skills. Any flagship monster predictions? No idea. I hope it's a new monster. I want more new monsters. There will never be a magnet spike. I don't think they'll do magnet spike. If they do anything, they'll do Tonfas. What do you think about continuing combos after AD and Axe mode? I think that's the most important bit here. Yep, I think it's really cool. That's the same. They did the same thing with Longsword. Longsword gets a follow-up to Spirit Helmbreaker too. Medium gun confirmed. Atomic Panda Gaming, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate support, thank you. Wasn't a big fan of Monster until I watched you play it. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Believe we'll get a 15th weapon on the 20th of August. I don't think so. We might, but I don't think so. Like Nactar Returns? I don't know. Want a Great Shield weapon class like the giant door shields from Dark Souls 3? No. Shields are supposed to be a support of a weapon, not a weapon in and of itself. Unless you got, like, Captain America going on. Rose will have his favorite weapon go last so he can talk about how great Hammer is in Wilds. Yes. Rurikhan is a musician who analyzed the trailer music and he made a connection between a subtle synthwave and a circuit board on the logo. He said it may be a man-made dragon. Equal dragon. Equal dragon weapon. Gaijin would never recover from that. Gaijin would never recover from equal dragon weapon actually being present in the game. We can bring 2 weapons in Wilds with your combo. Likely Gunlance Charge Blade or Gunlance Sword and Shield. If I had to predict that, that would be where I would be shooting for right now. Summoning Gaijin. Yeah. Dude, I'd love to do a podcast with Gaijin next week. I don't know if he's going to be able to because he's too addicted to grinding Savage in 14. So yeah, I don't know. Heard Yoshi P was looking forward to a Monster Hunter Final Fantasy 14 collab in the future. Hells yeah, dude. That'd be awesome. I don't want Bahamut, though. I want something else. We already had Bahamut. I want to get a different monster this time. Phoenix would be great, dude. Throwing Spear would be great. Sword and Shield Bow. Sword and Shield Bow sounds pretty good. Ruri is the equal dragon weapon. Yeah. Omega. Omega's too mechanical. We'd need an animal. Need like an animal primal. Like Ifrit. Ifrit would be really cool if they'd give us like Ifrit. I just don't want Bahamut again. Not Bahamut, Behemoth. Wait, you guys said Bahamut? Actually, no, Bahamut. Yeah, Bahamut. Yeah, no. I always get those two confused. No, Bahamut would be awesome. Bahamut would be awesome. I don't want Behemoth. Bahamut, yeah. Bahamut, Phoenix, Ifrit would be good too. Oh, dude, Bahamut. Bahamut be fucking legit. Bismarck? No Bismarck. Garuda's too humanoid. I don't think humanoid monsters work as well in monster. Like we had the Leshen. I didn't think that Leshen worked very well. They should have done Griffin instead. I know that it's, you know, I think that Capcom was experimenting with Leshen. I don't think it was particularly good. Imagine the armor set of Bahamut. Friggin' true, dude. Friggin' true. If we're getting lore, I would love to see the lore of like the guild being evil. Like some guild conspiracy theories. I'm all about that life. Will there be a new element? What's your take? I have no idea if there'll be a new element or not. It's gonna be Bahamut, but Gilgamesh is gonna make a surprise appearance. We'll see. Let me get a snack real quick. Did Hammer release? No. Evil or bad, Rurikhan? Evil. Do you think this game is still in the New World? I don't know anymore, to be honest. I think it'd be cool if it was. Rurikhan, when will we be able to romance Chatakabra? Yeah, you saw that deep cut of Shatakabra's nether region that Gaijin pointed out to everyone, and now that's got you acting the fool, huh? The Lumpy 107, I think that will follow world. So I think we're going to get random decos. Ruri romance when? Ruri's off the market, baby. Sorry. Ruri, what about Sword and Shield you love so much? Shield bashing monsters in the face, Shoryuken punch, and perfect rush. I mean, bro, have you ever landed the perfect Shoryugeki? How are you gonna ask me that? You land the Shoryugeki, knock out the monster mid-air. It doesn't get better than that, dude. What do you mean? Fantastic. Lance can already shield bash in Sunbreak. Think we'll get save file bonuses? No. I don't think it would make sense. Sword and Shield Focus Strike probably shouldn't be Shield Punch because you want to do it in a parry. Should From Soft work on the next Monster Hunter game after Wilds? No. Absolutely not. From Software's combat is vastly different from the combat of Monster Hunter, which is one of the things, by the way, I actually like combat in Monster Hunter more than From Software's. So no, I think From Software should stick to what they're doing good, which is more about really cool level design, really cool boss fights and all that, but they have their own combat, which doesn't really suit the combat of Monster Hunter, in my opinion. I could take a crossover, though. Imagine fighting Bale the Dread in Monster Hunter Wilds. Now that would be fucking legit. Customizable Sacred? I suspect it is, but I'm not sure. Or more so, I suspect it will be, but I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a couple of more things that I wanted to talk about. So let's go through these reasonably quick. Obviously, I'm not going to lose an opportunity to take a big steaming dump on Bungie, because they deserve it. Because I believe that the business practices of Bungie are completely appalling and disgusting, and I will keep shining a light on them every single chance I get. It's just that simple. So this is Paul Tassi. As you guys know, Paul Tassi, huge fan of Destiny 2. Recently, we've had Bungie's massive layoffs. And here's what he had to say. In the wake of Bungie's massive layoffs and transfer of roles to Sony, the future of Destiny 2 and other projects remains unclear. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. Destiny 2, right now, is dead in the water. And you want to know why? Because the last thing you ever want to have out there is news that you are going to be reducing steam on your main game. Because the content creation community is going to start leaving in droves, because they're already disappointed with Destiny, because Destiny's been very disappointed in recent time, very disappointing in recent times. I believe that a lot of people actually like the latest expansion though, but that latest expansion was like the last expansion that game is going to get. Okay, what's the Bungie Turmoil? Too long didn't read. Bungie Turmoil is like they fired a bunch of people after having a very successful expansion. They released a super successful expansion, and then they just fired 220 people. And the reason why I don't like Bungie is because they heavily monetize their audience, more so than they have any right to, and their audience eats the slop all the time. And this is why this company was allowed to get to this point. This is why I've said since the beginning, this company needs to burn to the ground and go under, because quite simply there's no saving them, because the only thing that's going to keep happening is they're going to keep bleeding out the talented people that they have at the bottom, the developers and all that stuff. They're going to keep bleeding those out whilst basically working them in slave labor conditions almost. And that talent will eventually leave the entirety of the industry. In the meantime, all the people fucking everything up, which is the leadership, those people are going to remain, with their cushy jobs, making bank. That's why I think that Bungie needs to go completely under. But anyways, future Destiny plans. Larger content packs, but not true expansions. So no more expansions for Destiny. Destiny expansions are done. They're going to have content packs, familiar elements like new destinations, raids, and campaigns, just much smaller scale on the whole. Shadowkeepish size, not sure what that means. I haven't played Destiny 2 in a while. Maybe, though, that not the same format. Goal is developing more replayable, grindable, unique activities like the coil. If we're leaving the system, my speculation, this is where we'd see those new worlds to visit. Not sure if this is free. That'll be the main release of a given year, starting with Frontiers launch. Then 6 months later, there will be another pack of smaller content. It's more something along the lines of what we got with Into the Light. This should be free. Between these, there may be something akin to current episodes, though the scale and schedule is not clear. Generally speaking, the idea is less sprawling one-off campaigns and greater focus of replayable activities. The hobby aspects with the new Frontiers format, there aren't widespread updates. They'll be hit every facet of the game at once, like most expansions used to. It'll be less than players are used to, not to say there will not be things worth playing. So here's an interesting thing. It seems that, according to everything that I've seen right now, of people talking about Destiny and whatnot, it seems that Activision Blizzard were actually the ones holding them back in terms of monetization. And there's something wrong in your company when Bobby Kotick is the one holding you back from going hog wild. Okay? When known scumbag Bobby Kotick is the one that's holding your people back, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe we're just a little bit too greedy for our own good. Just maybe we're a little bit too greedy for our own good. I don't know. Like, listen, those of you that don't play Destiny, I've said this multiple times. I know that there's still a lot of people that don't know. But those of you that don't play Destiny, I want you to understand something, okay? Imagine what it's like if you were to buy Shadow of the Erdtree right now, the Elden Ring expansion, right? You buy Shadow of the Erdtree, but if you want to go to that Abyss dungeon where you meet Saint Trina, I forget what the name of that place is, the Fissure. If you want to go to the Fissure, you have to buy that separately. I want you to just let that sink in, okay? Or instead of the Fissure, think of like, in order for us to go to the area where you eventually meet Bale the Dread, that's a whole separate thing. And you have to buy that separately. That is what a Destiny expansion is. It's that. You buy the expansion, but you don't get the special dungeon for the expansion. That's what Destiny is. And by the way, whenever I say this, their community usually comes and attacks me. It's like, you don't understand. You don't play the game. The expansion's included with the season pass. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that when you buy the expansion, you don't get the season pass. My bad. I'm so sorry. It's like, no, I'm going to call these things out. I am. It's fucking stupid. I've seen people that actually do play Destiny actively that bought an expansion and they thought they were getting the dungeon, which they didn't, and then they had to buy the dungeon separately. That is ridiculous. There's no excuse. There's no justification. There's nothing. You can't justify it in any way. End of. That's where I draw the line right there, brother. It's like, you're trying to tell me you're going to buy an expansion for like 40 bones or however much it costs, and it doesn't include the dungeon of that. You are crazy. You've been brainwashed. You've been, conditioned by these business practices, which I think are absolutely fucking disgusting. Okay, this is why I don't like them. I don't like them. I think they're terrible. I think they need to burn in a fiery crisp, and they need to disappear. Starfear, thank you very much for becoming grossly incandescent as an Ironbreaker level now. Tip of the hat. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Now, a couple of more things. They canceled a bunch of projects when they fired all these people. So one of the projects was apparently called Payback. Some elements of Payback appear to be shaping up well, but the third-person adventure spin-off shooter Luke and Mark were doing, I've not heard anyone say it was a flat-out bad idea or terrible in practice, even if the concept sounded like a significant departure for the series. So this was a game that they were working on called Destiny. I mean, it's not called anything. Payback was probably like a project name or whatever, very much the same way that usually different companies will come up with different project names. They were calling this one Payback. It was a third-person Destiny open world type of adventure where you would be playing as the characters. Now, I've seen an excerpt, I've seen the entirety of their podcast, of the Friends Per Second podcast, when they invited Jason Schreier over and they talked about a lot of these projects. Now, initially, when people talked about Payback, they pointed out Genshin Impact. So my theory was Payback was probably going to contain gacha elements for you to unlock different Destiny characters in order to play it. Jason Schreier said in Friends Per Second that is not the case. But me personally, I look at how greedy Bungie is, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that's what they were doing. They were just working on Genshin Impact, Destiny version, gacha mechanics for weapons, and what do they call it when you prestige one of those? Prestige, number of stars, all that bullshit, infinite grind. That would be what I would expect from the Payback project. I could be wrong. Jason Schreier says that was not the case according to the people that he spoke about. It was a third-person, open-world-ish type game, but it was probably going to involve some type of monetization because Bungie, they're just live service. Apparently, there's another project called Gummy Bears, which is moving over to Sony. It apparently has MOBA and Smash Bro-ish fighting game elements. And it's supposed to be very fun. Don't know what that is about. Destiny 3 was and is considered too big of a risk in the current market. The idea was instead to split up the Destiny as an IP to be more manageable components. And let me tell you something. This is one of the reasons why I prefer the way that Capcom does Monster Hunter. There's a ton of people that want Monster Hunter to become this. There's actually a lot of people that want Monster Hunter to become this. A live service with infinite expansions. I remember after Iceborne, a bunch of people were like, okay, next up, Fireborn. And I was like, no, you don't understand. It needs to end. I think it ending is one of the best things that it could possibly do because it ends and then they make a new one. And this is what Bungie didn't want it to do. They didn't want it to end and innovate. They just want to keep, oh no, we've done the hard part. Now we just slowly built on top of this and do this forever. And clearly that ran them into the ground. Over monetization, disgusting business practices, no fucking onboarding whatsoever. It's just like, if you want to try playing Destiny 2 right now, you're going to have to watch a 50-minute YouTube video so that you can learn what things you have to buy or not to buy. If you happen to have played Destiny 2 in the past, all the content that you've played is fucking gone. Everything that you paid for is fucking gone. They call it vaulting. Here's what I got to say about that. Why don't you just vault the whole fucking game? Vault it, close the vault, throw the vault in the garbage. That's what y'all got to do. But anyways, Destiny 3 was considered too big of a risk. PV portion we have now continuing D2, Payback for an adventure genre expansion. They wanted to just diversify the whole thing. Naturally, they wanted a mobile Destiny game from NetEase. You guys know what I call those dudes. They're the skin job guys. They come in and they have a bunch of different games already set up. They're just waiting for you to put a skin on them. That's what they do, right? They probably grab their same format that they have for Diablo Immortal. They just slap a fucking Destiny skin on that. Boom, done deal. End of. It's done. Easy money, baby. That's what NetEase does, as far as I'm concerned. I don't like NetEase. Listen, Diablo Immortal is still stuck in here with me. So, fuck those guys. Sorry. Too bad. Actually, sorry, not sorry. Don't care. It is what it is. There's no plans to just shutter Destiny. But basically, Destiny is going maintenance mode. That's the message. I've already seen a bunch of Destiny content creators going yeah, I'm moving on. I'm now a variety channel. Bada bada ba. And it's yep, that's the way to fucking go. Get fucking distance yourselves away from this game, okay? And here's the thing. Here's what really sucks. I want to make sure that people understand this. The actual development team, okay? The actual development team, the people that are in there, nose to the grindstone, in the front lines, the people that are actually making the content, some of the most talented people in this industry. I need you to understand this. A lot of the people at Bungie, because like, look, Destiny 2's gunplay doesn't get much better than that. I don't know any game that has better gunplay than Destiny. I know that a lot of people prefer Call of Duty. I don't like Call of Duty's gunplay. I prefer Destiny. Landing headshots in Destiny, brutally satisfying. Like, these people are talented. Animations, amazing. You know, the levels look cool. Art direction, cool. It's all good. Their team is very good. These are very talented people. The problem is the people above them making the decisions on how to monetize the game. They're the scum of the earth. And you can quote me on that. The people directly above these developers, the leadership, and all of those people at the top of Bungie, scum of the earth. Absolute scummiest people you can possibly have in the industry. But the worst part is because they're above the actual people that have talent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. It is what it is. I think it's disgusting. So, you know, it is what it is. One of Destiny's biggest ongoing issues is that its player base is skewing much older than everybody wants to see, which is worrisome to higher-ups. Yeah, we wouldn't want old people playing our video game. You want to attract a younger crowd. How about having some fucking onboarding, bro? I can go to Steam right now. And look at this. Okay, what should I buy to play this game? Is it the 30th anniversary pack? What the fuck does this even have? The Witch Queen, Lightfall, Legacy Collection, Echo Silver Bundle, Final Shape plus Annual Pass, Beyond Light, Shadowkeep, Forsaken, Triumph Silver Bundle, Throne of Atheon, 274 euros? Are you fucking crazy? What do we actually buy? How do you expect to get anyone playing your game? Nobody even knows what the fuck to do with it. How do you get into this game? Do you pay 274 euros for all the content? Are you fucking crazy? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking heard. What's wrong with you? Because the problem with Destiny is like, these aren't cosmetic items. This is content. All of this is content. It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid that you need like a YouTube tutorial, you know, that they need to update every other month so that you can understand what the fuck you even need to buy to play this goddamn game. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck is wrong with you? Fuck is wrong with you, dude? Anyways, the other thing is Bungie's also working on Marathon. The sentiment around Marathon is not good. Jason Schreier was also reporting on this. Sentiment around Marathon is not looking good. So the other project they have is Gummy Bears, and there's not going to be a Destiny 3, and Destiny 2 is not going to see any more major expansions. It's just like smaller content packs, also known as maintenance mode. So, you know, Destiny is going the way of the dodo. Okay, it's just that simple. It's going the way of the dodo. It's gone, right? This game's done deal. And again, I only feel bad for the development team. The developers, the animators, the artists, the writers. I feel bad for them. The people actually working on the video game. The marketing people, they can go get fucked in the ass for all I care. Forever. I never want to see those people in this industry again. Disappear from this industry. Never come back. The CEOs, same thing. Disappear. Go work in banking or something. You're clearly good at it. You're clearly good at a nice little predatory market. That's what you're good for. So yeah, fuck them. That's ridiculous. Fuck these people. But anyway, that's what happened to Destiny. And then, coincidentally, right as they announced that, like, oh, by the way, here's what's happening with Destiny. We fired a bunch of people. Destiny's going to slow down the rhythm of putting out expansions and all this stuff. Destiny 2 accidentally nerfs exotic loot drops as morale craters. Almost as you guys remember that one time they accidentally nerfed XP boost? It was an accident. We weren't aware we were doing it. We weren't aware we were grossly throttling your EXP to the point where after you played the game for 3 hours or however much it was, your EXP gains dropped down by like 90%. It was an accident. We didn't mean to do that. Oops. The fuck is an exotic loot? Exotic is like above epic or whatever. It's like the maximum, the best type of drops that you can have. They just straight up nerfed it. They're like, oh, patch went live early this week. Seemed like it was going to improve grinding for the rare and highly sought after gear with better drop rates. Instead, it seems like a bug or another issue has actually made exotic class items harder to get. Players immediately noticed that overthrow, an activity on the expansion's new Pale Heart destination, and the most popular way to farm class items was not dishing out any additional drops. The likelihood of a drop was supposed to be going up more with each completion. Instead, it seemed to have ground to a halt. I ran a total of 12 tier 4 overthrows and I've only gotten 2 exotic class items. Galanor Coyote. Solo grind is brutal. Brutal. Yep, that's exactly what they want. Spend more than 2 hours, 3 full overthrow runs. So 2 hours for 3 full overthrow runs, considering this dude ran 12 tier 4 overthrows. So that would be 2 hours for 3. That'd be 12 hours? No. 3 divided by 2 times 4. 8 hours. 8 hours this person spent an average of 8 hours farming to get 2 exotic class items. That's a full day's work, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I just knew when they announced the changes that it was going to be worse. At least revert back to the old way, please. Yeah, please. Make it as bad as it used to be. 3 overthrows for 1 exotic class item. This is absurd. Bungie doesn't fucking care. Now they're saying like, oh, we've identified an issue. Oopsie daisies. Oops, guy, it was a mistake. Oopsie daisies. No, bro, it was 100% intended. It was 100% intended, bro. 100%. Don't even get me started. Now, anyways, shoutouts for Longbeards, Sam Castellan, C. Manta, James Cheek 7507, Devin Widener, Astron RH, KJ Plays, Sherlock Para, Philip Grubham, ESS 99, Colbrick, Luis Rosa Slam Iron, Khalid Salih, Red Pigbank, Rambo the Nerd, Sephirian, John Coombs, Peg 83, Lord Snake, Pizza Man Invaded, Miz and Jamal, Angry Scott Stat 23, Alex S, Robert 396, and Shelby Neko. I believe we also had a new one. Was it Senior Bacon? I think. I forget the name. Sorry, I usually grab these right before the stream, so if you became a Longbeard, you get a shout out during the stream. Either way, I appreciate all of you, you Giga Chads, and everybody that supports the channel. Love you guys. Tip of the hat to all of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Okay. Now, we got a couple of more things here. I don't have a whole lot of time though, because I do want you guys to check out the Conscast that's coming up at 6. But real quick, looks like Warner Bros. Game revenue is down 41% during quarter 2 to the Suicide Squad. But I thought making games live service was the solution. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no, I'm so sad. I'm so sorry. Aww. Their profits are down. Curiously enough, what happens with the single player market? You guys know how people say single player not so good, Oh, Bandai Namco profits actually rose 56% during quarter 1 fiscal year 25. Huh. Impressive. Almost like there was this really fantastic, mostly single player, but also optional multiplayer in there, expansion that came out called Shadow of the Erdtree, which just, poof. It's absolutely insane. Publisher saw a boost in its digital entertainment sales, which increased by 55.8% to 106 billion yen, or 725 million bones. Yeah, buddy. That's what we like to see right there. That's what we like to see. Opposites of the same coin. Exactly. It's almost like, hey, Maybe we should actually give players what they want instead of coming up with these imaginary things that we know are supposed to make a whole fuckload of money, are inherently predatory by their mere existence, and we're going to try to milk players dry, and then we get fucked in the ass. Oops. Oh no. Maybe we should just do things for, good things for players and we'll be rewarded instead. Yeah, that would make way more sense now, doesn't it? Now, I've received a lot of requests to watch this, so we're going to watch this real quick. I don't know how much I'll have to say on it. A lot of people wanted me to watch this, so I figured, okay, we'll check it out today. This is Accursed Farms, Europeans Can Save Gamers. This was 10 days ago. I'm sorry. It took me a while to get there. My bad.
For the past several months, I've been working on a campaign to stop the destruction of video games.
Okay.
See, most video games work indefinitely, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But more and more are being designed to stop working the second support ends from the publisher.
Yep.
A kill switch, essentially. It's a form of planned obsolescence, where publishers...
This, by the way, is one of the reasons why I cannot recommend this game enough. Okay? These guys are struggling right now. I cannot recommend them enough. All right? Wayfinder was supposed to be an always online game. This was pretty much incentivized by Digital Extremes, the guys behind Warframe. They kind of, because Airship Syndicate pitched this game to them. And after a meeting, it was like, oh, we can kind of like make it like Warframe. So they were incentivized to make the game be more like Warframe instead of the initial game they were pitching. And then Digital Extremes dropped them, and they were like, yeah, too bad your game didn't work out. Get fucked. But they actually turned around and was like, all right, we're going to make this game single player now. And the game is fucking awesome. I cannot recommend it enough. Wayfinder is a really fun game. It's still in early access though, so I understand if you want to jump in right now. But they're supposedly gonna get to version 1.0 later this year, which I'll be reporting more on it when it gets to that point because I want to play it when the game is actually complete. But I really, really like this game. Is the game free? No, it's 25 bones right now. It is well worth it in my opinion. Feel free to disagree, but I really like it. I think it's a really fun game. It's not perfect. It's got, still needs polish in certain spots and whatnot. But the cool thing is like, this gives you an idea of what it would be like to play Warframe without any of like the time gating, any of like the forced grinds, any of that bullshit. And it is such a better experience for it. It is phenomenal. It also has co-op. I have a lot of fun with this game. I like it a lot. But yeah, it is what it is. But this is one of those games that, again, it was supposed to be an always online thing. They fucked them over, but they were like, no, actually, no, we're going to just release it as single player.
Destroying games they've already sold
There is customization.
But keeping your money.
Yeah.
And this is all preventable. Some people don't understand that. I've compared this before to studios from a century ago burning their own films after they were done showing them to recover the silver content. And now most films of that era are gone forever. That's very similar to what's happening to video games today.
Wait, Antonio Cunningham, that is really surprising to me that you would rather play Warframe. You usually tell me stuff about how you don't like games that are always online. You don't like games that are pay to win. Warframe is both. It's like, what? But I mean, fair game. I'm not saying you shouldn't play Warframe, okay? I'm not trying to go that way. But
it's just a terrible practice for everyone involved. Now, most of my efforts have gone towards challenging the legality of this practice in various countries because it's so consumer hostile, it's not clear if what's going on is even legal. That's still ongoing, but now we have a new option, proposing new law, and for the entire European Union. It took months to get put together and processed, but now we have a European Citizens Initiative devoted to halting the destruction of video games. You can read it yourself. This would require publishers to leave games they have sold to customers in a working state at the time of shutdown, without requiring any further connection to them or affiliated parties for the games to function. How they would do this would be up to them. This would also apply to free-to-play games that contain microtransactions.
Require video games sold to customers to be in a reasonably working state at the time of shutdown and support. Prohibit any requirements for video games sold to customers to connect to the publisher or affiliated parties after support ends. Require the above also apply to video games that sell games, assets, or features, microtransactions to customers. Agreed.
Because if you purchased a microtransaction as a good,
this sounds really
then the game
good.
is made unplayable, well then you just lost your goods. This would not require publishers to give up any of their intellectual property rights, give up their source code, though that one would still be nice. It wouldn't require endless support. They can end it anytime they want as far as we're concerned. It wouldn't need to host servers. Though they would have to either patch out that requirement or else allow customers to host them privately. Assume any liability for what customers do with their copies of games. And finally, nothing about this initiative would have any impact on publisher business practices while the game is being supported. In other words, publishers can continue doing whatever they want as long as you get to keep your game. It amazes me when some people say that's going too far in favor of the consumer. Though to be fair, that's probably not most Europeans.
So let's just put it like this. I don't think this is going to happen, and it's very easy to find out why. Anybody who believes that the European Parliament or whatever is not corruptible, you're not living in reality, okay? Like, any of the big AAA publishers can just go up to the European Parliament and be like, yeah, we're just going to lobby against that one, so, we'll support your candidate for this or your candidate for that other bullshit, and like, this has gone like a fart in the wind.
The idea here is we're just trying to stop games from being destroyed. That's it. So we're taking as narrow an approach as possible that still solves the problem. If we get enough signatures, then this goes before the European Union to be considered as new law. Now, if you're on board with this, you don't have to keep watching. You can go sign it right now. But wait, before you do, you have one chance to do this right. It's not hard, but if you make a mistake, your signature is invalidated and you don't get another chance. We've made guides at StopKillingGames.com on how to do this, just in case. But is this as simple as people sign this and it becomes law in the EU?
No, of course not.
Yeah, it might be.
No.
Now, it's not a guarantee.
100%
I think if we get the
it's
signatures,
not.
this passes. Why do I say that? Well, it's a few factors. Politicians like easy wins, and this doesn't require them to do much at all. And unless it involves gambling or protecting children, politicians generally don't care about video games. So this isn't of big consequence to them or most of their constituencies. EU law is already unclear on a lot of this practice anyway, and we would be making it easy for them to settle it. It falls in line with other consumer practices. You know how when you buy something, you're generally allowed to keep it? And finally, this is a diversion from really serious topics that politicians would prefer not to deal with. This would let them stay busy and avoid hard stuff. In fact, I would bet if we can clear the signature threshold, this passes into law and we solve the problem 90% or more. I say 90% because this would only impact the EU. So if a game was released only in China or Japan, yeah, this wouldn't save those. But most video games are sold globally, and the EU is part of that. Once it's a requirement that companies have to let you keep the games they sold to you in a major market like that, I think it spreads, whether it's the law elsewhere or not. Now, unfortunately, what I would not bet on, because it's a huge unknown, is whether we can pass that signature threshold to begin with. In order for this to work, we need 1 million signatures across the EU. Though really, it's more than that, because some are going to be invalidated because who knows why. So really, we need more like 1.2 or 1.3 million signatures.
Nah.
Oh, and it gets worse, because you need certain minimum thresholds per country for it to pass. So say somebody signs it in Greece. Well, then we need almost 15,000 more Greeks to sign it. Otherwise, none of the Greek signatures count. That rule strikes me as rather obtuse and awkward. I almost wonder if the EU took a page from the United States for that one. Anyway, that's a lot of signatures. I might be delusional for attempting this. I don't know yet. Now, the good news is we have 1 year to get them all, so we will have time. Although I'll say right now, there is no way I can get that many Europeans just for my audience. The only way this works is by reaching out to European YouTubers and streamers and so on to get on board, and non-English speaking ones at that. Now, I'll do my part and promote this the best I can, but I have limited reach. In fact, since I've started Stop Killing Games, I want to say everyone I've reached out to never responded. So me reaching out doesn't work. It's a total failure rate. However, there are two things that did work. One is people reaching out to me, since I respond to a lot. And two is people just covering this on their own. That really worked, which means if you're watching this, you may be a critical link in all this. Because you can tell other YouTubers, streamers, etc. about this initiative, and maybe they'll pick it up. And again, it's even better if their core audience is non-English speaking. The number of native English speakers in the EU is relatively small, so we need to connect the dots in other languages the best we can. Now, I'm offering myself for interviews, publicity on this issue, whatever, to almost anyone with a European audience of some size. In addition to that, the official spokesperson and backup spokesperson for the initiative have offered to speak on this also, and they are multilingual. And we have a few more official organizers who may be willing to discuss this in other languages as well. These are the people officially in charge. You know, actual Europeans. Yeah, even though I've helped, officially, I'm not a part of this. I'm not eligible. Doesn't matter. Whatever gets us to the finish line.
He's American,
and speaking
right?
of eligibility, it's pretty simple. You need to be a citizen of an EU country, though you don't have to live there, and you need to be at least voting age. That's it. This also means it's not just you who can sign this, but your friends can sign this. Your family can sign this. Girlfriends, boyfriends can sign this. They all count. Get everybody. And tell them to get people to sign too. And yes, it feels weird that I'm an ineligible American campaigning for Europeans to sign a document, but you know what? If it passes, we all win. So we just have to go to where the openings are. Oh, and if your relatives or whoever don't care about video games, you can explain to them this is also about not losing basic ownership. Like if video games are cars, what's happening now would be like if I sold you a car at full price, then later, and I wouldn't tell you how much later, so it's not a rental, I then came to your house and repossessed your car. But I also kept your money. That is not good business. Or not for the consumer anyway. Yeah, I guess taking back what you've sold is great for businesses. Maybe that's why the industry is worth more than movies and music combined. I get it. Video games aren't that important to most people.
I get this. It's like what I've been saying, though. I believe that this is going to get sabotaged by, politician bullshit, bureaucracy. Like Electronic Arts would probably lobby against this. I don't know how European law even works. I'm not inside a lot of this stuff. And again, I am European. I'm Portuguese, so I can influence this and all that. But a lot of people are pointing out that I need to also see the Pirate Games take on this before I make any decisions. So let's hear them out for a little bit.
Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now. I also run a massive community. We've got about 180,000 people in Discord, and most of what I do is try to teach other people how to make games, teach them that they can make games, show them the tools to do so, and try to do everything without any paywalls or bullshit in the way. It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games, and that the next generation has the tools to do so their medium doesn't die out, and it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this. So with that in mind, that community brought me this, and tried to get me to sign it. And I don't want to. Number one, I can't because I don't live in Europe. But number two, I wouldn't sign it even if I could. And I'm going to kind of go through this and try to explain the reasoning as to why that would be the case, without all of the internet hate machine that's grown up around it. So let's go into how this works and why this is an issue to me. First things first, what is an initiative? So an initiative is actually not law. It is something that you put together so you can put it up in front of representatives and they can start the conversation. The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future, this ain't it. And the reason why is specifically on this initiative, under its own description, it says, this initiative calls to require publishers that sell or license video games to consumers in the European Union or related features and assets sold for video games they operate to leave said video games in a functional playable state. Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher. This isn't always possible in all video games, and it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat. It is incredibly vague and will damage all live service games. How
Why
would you
isn't
keep League of
this-
Legends in a functional play?
Why isn't this possible? What do you mean it's not possible? Wait, he's going to say something about League of
It will
Legends?
damage all live service games. How would you keep League of Legends in a functional playable state? You'd have to re-architect the entire game. The game
Yes, exactly. You would have to re-architect the entire game. Yes, that's the point. That we were just talking about this. Like, bro, that's literally what these guys have done. That is literally what they have done. You want to know how long it took them? You want to know how long it took them? 3 months. 3 months. They went, by the way, in 3 months, they went from something that was created by somebody else. Because like the server structure, they didn't do it. The server structure was actually created by Digital Extremes. So this was an always online game that connected the servers they didn't develop with technology that they didn't do, and they were able to get it done in 3 months. 3 months is how long it took them. So yeah, you can absolutely convert any live service game into a single player game. And Wayfinder is the proof. Wayfinder is the proof that you can do that. So no, I don't agree with that. I think that you can absolutely, and here's the thing, even if you don't want to do that, it is super easy to give players the server infrastructure, which Palworld has done, which Enshrouded has done, and there's plenty of other, survival type games that let you host your own servers. So if you absolutely can't figure out your fucking spaghetti code as to how it works with servers and stuff, just have an option there that says, oh, change the server, the default server connection to an IP, and then people can host their own servers. It is not hard at all. It is not hard at all. No, I don't agree with what Thor is saying.
Client server.
And by the way, I'm not a developer, but like I just see this being done in other video games. I don't believe you that this is too hard.
In client server models, there's a server and there's a client, and all of the math, all of the game, everything happens on the server. The client just displays it. And the reason we want to do it that way is so that you can't teleport around and do a billion damage. You don't trust the client. You trust the server. The client
Yeah.
just displays what it's told, right?
Yeah.
So if we wanted to re-architect this, we'd have to take all of that server logic, push it back out
Yep.
into the client, and somehow
Yep.
make that playable in a multiplayer-only video game. That doesn't make sense to me.
It was done in 3 months, and it still supports multiplayer, by the way, using peer-to-peer connections. It was literally done this year. Literally done this year in 3 months, and it still supports multiplayer. Not only that, but they now also added a server browser. I'm not a software developer. I just look at what other people have done, and I was like, these guys did it in 3 months. An indie team, by the way, of like 80 people or something like that. It's not the same case. What do you mean it's not the same case? It's exactly the same case. It is exactly the same case. The Wayfinder was always online. All of the calculations were done server side on the Digital Extreme servers. This is why the game crashed and burned when it launched, because the Digital Extreme servers sucked ass. They were not working. They exploded under load. And they just grabbed all that, fixed it, 3 months. Antonio Cunningham, thank you very much for the souls. Tip of the hat, appreciate the support. I might check that out later because I don't know if we'll have enough time today.
So this isn't going to work for all games. Why is it calling out all games? And it's really easy.
By the way, I'm not accusing Thor of being a shill or anything like that. I see some people in chat saying that. I disagree with what he's saying. That's all. I actually think that he's a pretty stand-up dude from what I've seen him whenever he talks about, software development and all that stuff. I usually like his takes. I'm saying I don't agree with this one.
To say like, oh, that'll get worked out down the line. But we're dealing with government here. If we're going to be putting up these types of ideas, specifically in front of government, we need to be calling out the right issues, especially if you don't have precedent set. Because now you're going to be setting precedent on something that doesn't make any sense with people that may not understand the nuance of our industry, all in the name of saving games. I can't agree with that. So let's go into why this is happening, right? So why did this start in the first place? What is the specific cases they've called out that are egregious? And they have one. It's The Crew. So action on The Crew. The video game The Crew, published by Ubisoft, was recently destroyed for all players and had a player base of at least 12 million people.
Oh yeah, this is still about The Crew, yeah.
Protection laws. This represents one of the best opportunities to hold a publisher accountable for this action. If we're successful in charges being pressed against Ubisoft, this can have a ripple effect on the video games industry to prevent publishers from destroying more games. First off, I don't like the idea in this that it has a player base of 12 million people. That is not how long-running games work. There is a large number of people that buy the game, and that player base slowly dwindles off until nobody is playing it anymore. If there's any...
Yeah, but the thing is, The Crew is a one-time price game. So if it sold 12 million copies, that means 12 million people had access to the game. They absolutely did. I don't understand this take either. They absolutely had access to the game. What do you mean? They bought it. Because the game, despite being an online game, it was not like a subscription-based game or anything like that. It was a game that you bought once, have it forever. Except that forever is over.
Costs associated with keeping the game online, which this was an online video game, then eventually it costs more to keep it online than it does to keep running it, right? So the cost outweighs the amount of income for it. There are bad business practices that can occur in there. There are companies that will sell a online-only game as a single-player experience and kind of just put it into the TOS and hide it. But not all companies do that. When they do, we should be calling out that specific company, not all companies. So let's take a look at this and find out more about The Crew itself. And if we pull up their Wikipedia, we can see that The Crew was actually created in 2014, which, much to the hatred of all of us oldies on the internet, was 10 years ago. Oh. So this was an online-only racing video game developed by Ubisoft Ivory Tower and Ubisoft Reflections and published by Ubisoft. So all Ubisoft, right?
By the way, I played The Crew when it came out. I played a decent chunk of this game. And let me assure you, the multiplayer features of this game, it's almost nothing. It doesn't matter at all. You could remove the multiplayer, the game's the same. The game's pretty much the same. So, in my opinion, it should be fairly easy. Just remove that shit. Like I said, this little indie development team, Airship Syndicate, did this shit in 3 months. 3 months. They did it. You're going to tell me that Ubisoft? Oh, no. Poor Ubisoft. They can't do it. No, they don't want to do it because they're lazy and because there's no money in it. No, I don't agree. Fundamentally don't agree.
It said it was a scaled-down recreation of the contiguous United States and included both role-playing and large-scale multiplayer elements. So it had a massive multiplayer component to it.
No, it didn't. I played it. No, it didn't. Yeah, you could see other players' cars and shit, but it's not a big deal at all. Like, you could race random players every now and then. You could replace those with bots like that, and it's literally the same game. Nope. Hey, we got another Widgeon bot. Bye-bye. Please never come back.
It is an online-only service-based game, and they shut it down 10 years later. On March 31st, 2024, Ubisoft shut down the game's servers, rendering the game unplayable, which is normal for live service games. The only thing that I can see in here that could be a problem is if they post it as not an online-only experience. But everything that I found online shows that the game was always marketed as online-only. If you're going to be buying an online-only game, that means it can only run when it's online. And if the servers need to shut down in the future, far in the future, it makes sense to me for the access to that game to be cut if it's online-only. If it's a single-player experience that has online-only functionality specifically just to shut down the game in the future, and the online-only doesn't actually add any gameplay functionality, I'd agree with you. That's a shitty business practice. But that's really
exactly that's the point. It added almost nothing. The multiplayer in the crew added almost nothing. I played that game. I barely even did any multiplayer shit on it because it didn't matter. That's exactly you're making the point. That's the crew. What you just said right there, that's the crew.
And in the specific cases where it does happen, we should call out
Thor. I have the video at 1.5 speed. That's me. It's because I have a podcast coming out at 6, and I want to make sure that you guys get to watch that.
That, not just all games and not all live service games. Further, there's more context to this too. The Crew itself came out in 2014, but it actually had a sequel that came out in 2018, and then it had another sequel that came out in 2023. And if we go to the Crew's SteamDB, which again is
I don't think the second one is a sequel. I thought the second one was an expansion. The Crew 2 is a sequel, and then it had an expansion, I think.
All of the player base for this. It's only going to show the ones who were playing it through Steam. It was on multiple platforms. And we look at the max here. It did start out with a sizable amount of community, and then it degraded. And it had a major drop-off in 2018, which is the same year that it launched a sequel. This is normal. When a sequel comes out, a lot of the player base, if the sequel doesn't suck, will move over to it. And then the servers effectively die. You can't run a live service game on this few players. You can't, most of the time, especially not if there's anything else that goes into it. And if we go into that anything else, and we can see that there was license problems. So on December 14th, 2023, Ubisoft delisted the Crew and its expansions from digital platforms, suspended sales of microtransactions, and announced that the game servers would shut down on March 31st. So they gave them 3 months. Usually I would say, hey, 6 months is probably a better deal, but if they're going to do 3 months, they're going to do 3 months. The only thing that I'd be interested outside of that is if there was a contractual obligation to do more than 3 months and they didn't follow it, if it was in the terms of service or not. Citing upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints. What were those licensing constraints? Well, it turns out that all of the cars in the game were licensed from the car companies, and a 10-year running game likely means that they had license to them for 10 years, and that means that it would likely reopen for negotiation. Now, I understand that's speculation, but I've seen this.
This is why you would very quickly extract the multiplayer elements from the servers, place them on the client side, patch that shit. Problem solved. Problem solved. Yes, the podcast will be on YouTube.
Type of a deal many times in the industry and while I've been working in it. So it's not unlikely. If you're going to have to renegotiate on a game that has so few players and is not turning a profit anymore, you're probably just going to forgo the renegotiation. And if those servers are aging, you're not going to want to recreate that infrastructure. And there are some people that will say, well, just make it all single player. Well, I've explained that that doesn't make any sense in the first place. If you're making it all single player, you have to carve off all of that, and it's developer time and money. When you already have sequels out and the game has basically no players left anyway, it makes more sense to just move on. I don't find that to be a problem from the developer perspective, and I understand that people find that to be a problem from the player perspective. These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it because I understand the burden that puts if we raise that problem in the way that we are right now. If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them, and we're going to miss out.
No, what we're saying, that's not, no, 100% not. What he's saying is that they need to leave the game in a functioning state. They're not saying they have to run the live service forever. They're saying that when the live service ends, either give us the server code so that we can host our own servers, or patch the game so that it doesn't require multiplayer. I don't agree with this at all.
Adventures like Final Fantasy XIV, and even though I don't play anymore, League of Legends, or any other live service game, any of them. You're talking everything, like even phone games, as funny as that is.
That's the other thing. I've always said that Final Fantasy XIV should have like a single player version just for people who enjoy the story. And pretty much right now, you can play the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV almost without interacting with players, because you still need players for some trials, but even that is probably going to get patched out in the future. 14 is an MMO, doesn't matter. You can make it be a single player game. 100% you can.
People don't realize that phone games require online-only activity. What about things like Pokemon Go? What about stuff like Monster Hunter Now? What about any of these? We'd never get any of them. And that's why I think this needs to not be vague. It needs
not getting Pokemon Go or Monster Hunter Now. That sounds like a win-win scenario, brother.
To be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem. So now we're going to go to Ross, otherwise known as Accursed Farms, the creator of this initiative, and one of the ones that's pushing it the most online. I'm going to let him say exactly why he thinks that this will go through very easily and why it is important, and then I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with it.
Becomes law in the EU.
Okay,
yeah.
now they're just gonna get into the weeds of like the law discussions and all of that stuff. It's like I don't agree with Thor. I agree more with Ross, but the problem is, like I said, I don't think we can get this law through because basically you would need someone on the European Parliament that is actually interested in pushing this through, and you would need someone that is uncorruptible, which doesn't exist. 100%, whether it's EA, Activision Blizzard, like any of these big, large, monolithic publishers will step in and nip this in the bud. 100%. I don't agree. I 100% agree with Thor. Okay, why? Why can't... Okay, let's put it like this. If you agree with Thor, then you would be okay with when Monster Hunter World Iceborne support ended, that we would never get events again. That's what you're agreeing with, by the way. You'd be okay with like, oh, Monster Hunter World Iceborne is over? We're never going to get events again? Oh well, too bad. What did Capcom do? Capcom did right by people by implementing events that rotate every other week, I think, or something like that. Capcom was like, no, we want to make sure that people get to continue experiencing these events from, in future times. And that's what they did. They have rotating events constantly in the game. If we completely, the more basic implementation of that would have been just like, hey, end of service is here. No more events ever again. It's gone forever. How am I twisting what he says? Until the server closes like for you? It was also in 2014. Interesting. It's also been 10 years. But Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate still works. And can you still download events? I don't know if you can still download events, though. You might not be able to download events anymore. Yeah, but it would be like for you, I guess. No more events isn't like no more game. Yeah, but it's still no more events. I think every game should eventually get an offline mode. That's my position on it. As a matter of fact, when I was a young lad, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, I assumed that if World of Warcraft ever went offline, that I would get a single-player version of World of Warcraft. I always assumed. But no. No, you can't because the eShop is dead. Oh, okay. Only if your save has them? I think my save has all of them still. Can still play Monster Hunter World offline. Yep. Yes, you can. But you wouldn't have the events. He doesn't say there's no problem. He says this solution is wrong. Yeah, but at least it's an attempt at a solution. I don't know, dude. The thing is, I just don't think that this will work because anything that involves politicians, to me, it's usually cooked already. You know? That's just the way that I look at it. It's like I don't trust politicians in general. I don't trust the European Union. I don't trust any of this politics garbage. Because every time that, you actually look into things, you find that there's a bunch of bullshit. There's a bunch of people that have been corrupted, bought and paid for. It's just like I can't. Like I would love to know more about this. I don't have the time to put into researching it, figuring out whether or not it's worth my time. It's just not me. Like if you guys want to do it, like I can link you guys to the video and you can make up your own minds about it. And when it comes to, did I close Thor's video? I did. I should have shown Thor's video. Lobbying will likely hamper this. Yeah, absolutely. Thor wants status quo, and that's already failing us consumers. Yeah, that's pretty much where I stand. Like, according to what Ross described, I would be pretty much okay with this moving forward. I just don't think it will actually happen. Honest question, Ruri. How long do you think Capcom will do good by players before they change course? Bro, I can't predict the future. What I can tell you right now is the Capcom that I am seeing is pretty much very pro-consumer, even if sometimes I do feel like they missed the mark. Like the amount of cosmetic weapons that we weren't able to get in Rise and Sunbreak. I feel like that was, there were a couple of things there that you can criticize. I feel like some of the microtransactions they added in Dragon's Dogma 2, there's also some room for criticizing those. There are things that Capcom does that I'm not a huge fan of, But as a whole, I feel like they're usually doing right by their consumers. That's my take on that. When you play with laws, you have to be extremely careful. You can't easily remove a law. This guy's too focused on this is what it can do. You should always assume the worst case scenario instead. But I mean, right now we got nothing, Katame. That's the problem. It's like all we got is the decency of developers choosing to do the decent thing like Wayfinder did, which is like, hey, look, this game's either going to fucking crash and burn and die forever and nobody will ever get to play it, or we spend 3 months transforming it into a single-player game that can be played offline with optional peer-to-peer co-op. And they did the right thing. But unfortunately, a majority of developers are not willing to put in this level of work. Unfortunately, a majority of the developers just go like, well, we're shutting down the servers. All y'all that spend God knows how much money on our game, get fucked. We're out of here. We got your money. Peace. Some developers will do right by us. Some won't. And it would be nice if there was actually, something that we could do about it. Oh yeah, I could. I definitely recommend. Digital sales have skyrocketed. What has not been able to keep us from the law regarding licensing and digital ownership. Yep. I don't know what happened with Asura's Wrath. That's before my time. The same with Street Fighter V. I wasn't really covering that many things in the industry back then. Yeah, but it's like, KJ, when you say best thing we can do is vote with our wallets, just look at how many people still supported Bungie's scummy practices. You think Bungie's going to give you an offline version of Destiny when those servers inevitably crash and burn? They're going to tell you, hey, you spent what? $2,000 in our game? Get fucked. Tough titties. It's gone. That money's gone. Our CEO bought a new car with it. Our CEO, Pete Parsons, made sure he bought a really nice car with it, bro. Oh, man. Anyway. Guys, that is going to be it. I had another topic that I was going to bring up, but it's a topic that I can bring up in the next one because it's not too timely. I'm extremely tired. I need to get some rest as well. Thank you all very much for showing up today. I have a podcast coming up, so please don't go anywhere. I'd really appreciate it if you check it out because I'm always trying to get interesting topics and interesting games. This is a game that I think will be interesting. I'll probably check it out when I'm allowed to cover it and all of that stuff. But here's the link to the podcast. You should automatically be redirected. Really appreciate it if you guys would check that out. But yeah, that is going to be it for now. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong. Stay safe. Peace out.